Hello, everybody. This is Joseph Hasek, and welcome to the Fired Up Network. Welcome to the flagship show of the Fired Up Network, Fired Up Live. We got outstanding show for you tonight. Also, because we got so much, we're going to do something tomorrow. Also, we got the soccer show with Carmen Asako, the coach of York University men and lady. Also, hopefully, we'll have Giancarlo Lino on Freeman Nelson of OSG Sports, and we're going to bundle that up with the Renaissance Mama, Courtney Riddle, and a worldwide exclusive interview with head coach of LSU basketball, Dale Brown. Also, Saturday night, Christmas Eve night, the female empowerment movement, takes center stage here on Fire Network as a Christmas holiday concert. Yes, Shauna Brown. Also, Courtney Riddle, Martina Barnett, Giselle Lou. A Christmas holiday concert. We'll have that Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And throughout the night, we'll have some holiday treats. But today, we have right now Steve Carney of Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg, Florida, with the grizzled young veteran Marty Roberts on the sports wrap, talking about NFL, Major League Baseball, and NHL. Then my good friend Andy McNamara with the Ultimate Fantasy Football Show. Then we have a Maple Leafs Forever recap of the Maple Leafs Philadelphia and Roberts. And then we have NBA Jump Ball, NBA Christmas Day Game Day Talk. Captain Canada, Drew Ebanks of OnPointBasketball.com, as well as Sports Fluent, Anthony Kay, and former Toronto Raptor, all-time great, the long-range bomber, Tracy Murray. Yes, Tracy Murray will join us tonight here on Fired Up Live. So we begin with Steve Carney and Marty Roberts. Hey, everybody, this is Joe Basic, and welcome to Fired Up Network, the flagship show of the Fired Up Network, Fired Up Live. And welcome back to my two amigos. Yes, the grizzled young veteran, the guy who battles and never seen a corner he doesn't like. He's on a seafood diet, whatever he eats, whatever he sees, he eats on Christmas. Marty Roberts, and the one and only, maybe there's two, maybe there's three, from Tampa, St. Petersburg area. He's not shaven for Steve. Look, I brought out the big lights here. It's Christmas, it's Hanukkah, and you can't even dress up. Can't even wear one of those hats, Santa hats or whatever. Come on, at Steve Carney. Steve, first of all, I haven't seen you in a month. How are you?
It's been a busy month, that's for sure, with the Tampa Bay Lightning and with the University of South Florida men's and women's basketball teams doing quite well. It has kept me on my toes, that's for sure, Joe.
What about your first place under 500 Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Will start off in the NFL. Your first place, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who, if they lose, and either New Orleans, either other teams here can win that division, are you scared?
No, because all that the Buccaneers have to do to clinch the division, they have to win two games. They got to beat Carolina and they have to beat Atlanta. And if my memory serves me correctly, I believe they are one of them is at home and one of them is on the road. You just have to beat the two teams in your division. If you do that, you win the division and you host a playoff game. I wasn't worried about Cincinnati, although it was nice being up 17-0. And I don't know don't ask me what happened in the answer is I have no idea. And if they don't have to beat Arizona. They've got two teams to beat in order to host a playoff game. And I have full faith that they can do both.
All right, so I got to ask before I ask Marty this. The quarterback, the former owner, like you say, of my Buffalo Bills.
That's right.
What's his name again?
That
Thomas
would
what?
be the Right Reverend. I can't call him Governor General because he turned down the position. Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr., owner of the Buffalo Bills.
That's like saying Joseph Pasek is the president of the provinces of Canada, soon to be the mayor elect of North America. All right. So, are you? Is this the last cup that we're going to see Tom Brady in the National Football League, specifically in a Tampa Bay uniform?
In the National Football League, I'm not sure. In a Tampa Bay uniform, that would not surprise me, though. I believe he is not. This is his
All right.
last year. And I just have a feeling that if he wants to continue playing, it's not going to be in Tampa Bay. He would end up going to a third team because I do not think he's going back to New England, despite all the quarterback issues that they have with the Patriots right now. But I could certainly see him playing beyond 2022 in the NFL. He is going to be 46. But now that he does not have Gisele Bundchen to return home to, I think that he's going to. I personally think he is going to continue playing. He'll play. He wants to play because there will always be a team out there that will take a chance on him.
Marty and Steve, just Steve, for your knowledge, this is exclusive news. Gisele Bundchen, and I only know this because my wife told me. Gisele Bundchen and Mandy Rose are joining up on a live event for fans. It's going to be costing. Are you ready for this? $99.99. Steve Carney, are you interested?
In making Mandy Rose a Christmas billionaire, I will pass.
All right. So Marty, I'm going to ask you. You're a big fan of the Commanders. Commanders,
Oof.
Giants, battling for probably the last position in the NFC playoffs. All right. Who makes it? Is it your Commanders? And for God's sakes, Marty, you were the coach there, offensive wide receiver coach and all. Tell your wide receivers to line up properly. All right.
Well, I think the Giants are the tiebreaker. So now Washington, they got to get ahead of the Giants, have to be one up on them. Like that, the tie 2 weeks ago or whatever it was, 3 weeks ago. And then last week had that opportunity. They score, take it back because he didn't line up properly. But if you look at the video, he asked the line judge there, and he said he was good. And then they still threw the flag. And then the end zone pass, the guy's draped all over him, hugging him, kissing him, and no flag. So you know what? I like Heineke as a quarterback. I really do. I just don't think he's a guy that can win the big games for them. So I don't know if they're going to have to put Carson Wentz back in there to see if he can push them up into that spot. I think they're the last spot now, maybe Washington, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But it's awfully tough because they play San Francisco this week. So Washington has it out tough for the last few games that they have left. So they might want to stick Wentz in there and see if they can if he can give them a boost. Like all year they've had Chase Young out too, right? And they're taking their time with him and his knee injury. So it doesn't look like he'll suit up again this weekend.
All right. So tonight, and when you look at this schedule, when it comes out in May, Steve, I'll start with you. Uh, Jets and Jaguars, you're thinking Amazon paid $400 billion for Jets and Jaguars, and this is an important game in 16. Steve, who's your pick?
Oh, come on. You're going to give me an opportunity to pick against Zach Wilson. I'm going to take that all day, every single day, especially the way that Trevor Lawrence has been playing. I really do think that Lawrence is finally to the point where you're going, yeah, I can understand why somebody would spend a number one draft pick on him. It helps that he actually has a coach this year, as opposed to the absolute what show that was going on in his rookie season in Jacksonville. But I certainly think that with Zach Wilson under center with the Jets instead of Mike White, I think the Jets are in big trouble. So I would say it is definitely about the Jacksonville Jaguars. And who would have thought here in December, as we close in on Christmas, that we would be talking about meaningful football games involving Jacksonville.
And the Jets, for that matter, right? So there you go.
Well, I don't think we're going to have any meaningful games with the Jets because they have Zach Wilson under center.
Not anymore. All right, Marty, you have hair like Trevor Lawrence.
Flowing.
Steve, come on, Steve. I'm expecting you to make a comment there. Come on. All right, who's your pick?
I think Jacksonville.
You think
I think
Jacksonville?
Jacksonville. Yeah, I think Jacksonville for that division too. Like Tannehill's now out for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
That gives Jacksonville an opportunity. Now there'll be with one game behind him, I think. So
Yeah.
Jacksonville could win that division and make their way into the playoffs, and then who knows what. But they looked good last week. Lawrence is he still makes some mistakes, but he also comes up with some big plays, and I'm thinking Jacksonville.
All right. As we close out the NFL talk, we'll get to the other sports. But Steve, I'll get back to you. Today it was announced that Sunday Ticket has signed on with YouTube. Firedup Network was in consideration. I was going to be right there with them, but Marty Roberts has refused a pay cut, so I couldn't take that. So there you go. Blame Marty. What do you think this means for the National Football League and its billions of billions of billions of billions? Go ahead, Steve.
Well, I mean, you go where the money is, and obviously Google has a shed load of it, and I certainly think that going away from DirecTV, who has had the Sunday Ticket for as long as I can remember, that the Sunday Ticket's been around. I think that's a really big indicator of where things are going. I mean, you look at it; there's so many have now streaming wise, those that cost money, those that are free and ad supported, and now YouTube TV has really taken a step forward in those NFL fans that are looking for that fix. The people that had DirecTV for so many years and put the dishes up on their roofs in order to get as much football as they possibly can, are now going to go, oh, you mean all I need now is an Ethernet connection into a router, and I can get my my fix that way, and it's going to be a huge injection of cash for Google and their parent company Alphabet, because of the fact that they're obviously going to continue to charge the however much now Sunday Ticket is, and maybe they make it a bump. Maybe they go from I couldn't even tell you what it is now, if it's $179 or $199 or $100, but it wouldn't surprise me if they bump it $50 a month, because NFL fans are going to pay it. If they bump it from $249 to $299 and say that's what it's going to take now, I don't think it's that much. I think it's $179, and maybe they bump it $179 to $199. $20 for the season. I think most NFL fans are going to be okay with that.
All right, Marty, any thoughts about that?
None. NFL just getting richer. That's all.
Oh,
I mean, you look at it. We're living in a land where an NBA team can be sold for $4 billion, and now who's licking their lips and rubbing their hands in anticipation is Marty's guy Dan Snyder when he sells his Commanders. Now that he's talking about possibly selling the Commanders, there's going to they're going to get he's going to get $10 billion for that franchise. It's going to be ridiculous.
Yep.
And don't forget, the only place that you could see Marty Roberts and Steve Carney is the Fired Up Network, the #1 independent streaming. I made that up. Who cares? All right.
With as many zeros as you
Marty
would see
refused
in a
to take. We were in line to get the NFL to take because of his Commanders. All right. So that's with the NFL. Now let's look. We talk about the rich getting richer. 9 years, 350 smackaroos for Aaron Judge, the new captain of the New York Yankees. But I want to talk to Steve and to Marty about this. Correa has a deal in place, is dressed up very nice with a suit, nice tie, and everything like that, and then says, I'm not gonna go to the meeting and everything like that. And then what does he do? He signs on with another company for the same amount of money. And by the way, Steve, we talk about Washington Commander owner Schneider there, but how do you like to be good? Happy Hanukkah to my good friend now, good friend, not MJF Maxwell Jacob, not Bill Goldberg, Steve Cohen, brother of Eric Cohen, son of Flicka Cohen, Steve Cohen. By the way, I need some shekels here. I need some geld. It's Hanukkah time, and Steve, we're all gonna sing the Hanukkah song thanks to Adam Sandler. This guy, is he stop? Does he stop getting free agents for the Mets?
No, no, because I mean, Steve Cohen has just taken concept of a role for one of these teams and send it into orbit. But that's exactly what the Players Association wants. They want, these people to be able to spend $400-500 million in a season on payroll with these luxury taxes. And to Steve Cohen, he's going to pay it. You know why? Because it's just money to him. He has no, the concept of having a ceiling for how much money you're willing to spend is non-existent. I'm surprised he didn't go after Aaron Judge instead of bringing back Brandon Nimmo, because I could see that benefiting the Mets in like three different ways. Because number one, it's huge headlines, and it makes sure that you stay on the back pages of all the sports pages. Number two, you'd have stuck it to the Steinbrenner something good, which is something we all like. And number three, it would have made his team significantly better. Much as I like Brandon Nimmo, he's not, and obviously being able to if he could have gone and bagged Aaron Judge along with Justin Verlander and all the other and Carlos Correa and all the other pieces that he's put together, I think that Mets fans would be overjoyed.
All right, Marty, what do you think? And Marty, we're not renegotiating your contract, not yet.
Well, I'm thinking the MLB owners are sort of upset now that they let him in the door, because he's forcing other teams, if they want to keep up, they got to spend. So, but up to this last signing with Carrera, the Mets hadn't gotten any better, right? They hadn't. They got Verlander, but they lost DeGrom. They re-signed their own free agent, but signing Carrera now to put him in there with, Alonso, Lindor, Nimmo, they're going to be pretty solid. I think they got Marte, McNeil. So they have a pretty solid lineup now when you add those guys in. Their bullpen, they've added some pieces to their bullpen as well. Like Steve said, like he's what, $485 million now is what the total package is going to be for next year, including his tax. And like Steve said, it's just money to him. So he'll just keep throwing it around. I'm sure at trade deadline, if things aren't going well, he'll just add another piece somewhere else. But at the end of the day, the Mets will do Mets things. So who knows what happens when playoff time comes for them. But he's forcing other teams to spend. There's no question. I think I saw the Dodgers. This is the first time in a few years that they're not going to be at the luxury tax, right? Like $188 million right now. So Cohen's forcing guys to spend, and you look, that division has spent a little bit there with Atlanta and Philadelphia.
And you talk about that division, Darby Swanson, or what's his name? Signs on
Dansby
with
Swanson.
Dansby Swanson. He signs on with the Cubs. Atlanta gets weaker, Mets get stronger. It's the Mets division to win. Now, Steve, let's go into the AL East. You're Tampa, me and Marty are Toronto. Marty Roberts, the biggest homer of Toronto Blue Jays. He's very upset of the Blue Jays letting go of your manager, Little General, and all that. Right now, Steve, who would you say is a better team, the Blue Jays or Tampa Bay Rays?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think
There's no
both of
question
them.
at all. What do you mean, good question? Marty, I'll start off with you, Steve, with all due respect. The Blue Jays.
The Blue Jays are going to win the World Series. Ooh.
I didn't say that. Marty Roberts says that, not me. Go ahead, Marty.
Honestly, I still think the Jays are a little worse off than what they were offensively last year. They still haven't proved, they got rid of this, which I thought was going to be they had something on the back burner there, and it turns out there wasn't.
Oh,
So
it's
yes,
Kevin Kiermaier.
well, we're not going to start that, but
No, we're gonna start there. Marty Roberts.
when that signing was first, I knew it was for be the starting center fielder. And everyone's like, oh no, it's for the fourth outfield. No, I knew it's for the starting center fielder. If he was your fourth outfielder and could go out there, I'm fine with Kiermaier in the lineup. But when you bring a 240 batting average in, coming off of I think it was his hip surgery he had, and he's a guy that relies on his speed. He's great defensively. Is that hip surgery going to take him down a notch now out there in the outfield? I don't know. And I just don't think he's a guy that the Jays can win with having him every day in the outfield. And even, I don't think he's played a full year since day one in the major league and injury. So defensively wise, he'd be the eighth inning to get that taken care of. But to have him every day in there, I don't know. I'm hoping that the Jays sign like a Conforto to come in to whether it be DH and rotate through the outfield positions. Because you look at that outfield now the Jays have, Gurriel, Springer, Kiermaier, all get injured. And they have no one else to back them up if they do get injured. So it could be a little bit of an ugly season for the Jays if they're done tinkering.
Now, the greatness that is Raimel Tapia can take over in that case.
No, he's still a free agent though. Jays don't have him. They released him, right? They didn't offer him a contract, so they would still have to.
They would have to bring him back in.
Bring him back, right?
But I look at it this way, with some of the moves that are, and I'm not talking about free agent moves. I'm talking about some of the changes that Major League Baseball is going to do this year, specifically with banning the shift. I think that's going to help the Tampa Bay Rays and specifically Brandon Lau and get him back going in the right direction. But he's another guy that tends to be oft injured, much like a Kevin Kiermaier. And Marty is right. The last time that Kiermaier played more than 130 games in the season was 2015 when he played 151 games. And I'm curious to see, for a guy that's had multiple hip issues, because he had a fractured hip a couple of years ago that cost him like 3 months, going from the hard surface and artificial turf of Tropicana Field to the hard surface and artificial turf of Rogers Center. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense if you ask me. But I really do think that, with the addition of Zach Eflin to the rotation, I still think the Rays have at least one or two moves that are going to be made. The one move that I've been, I don't know if I could say I've been clamoring for it, but I would love to see the Rays pick up Eric Hosmer from the Boston Red Sox, who are getting ready to release him. But you have to put him through waivers. I would be jumping all over him because that is exactly the sort of pickup that the Tampa Bay Rays would do. 3 more years, $13 million a year being paid by someone else. That is perfect. But they need another left-handed bat. Hosmer, Brandon Belt, two guys that play first base. Now that Ji-Man Choi is gone, I would like to see them bring in somebody, because right now the plans for the Rays to play first base are Yandy Diaz, who is okay. I know that there are people in the Rays front office that are very high on Yandy's defense at first base. I am a little less so. But it would be Yandy Diaz, Isaac Perez, or Jonathan Aranda, who I don't think needs to be anywhere near a field. That guy screams DH to me. Before you get to their big first base prospect, Kyle Manzardo, who's probably going to start the year in Double-A. He's probably a 2024 debut as opposed to a 2023 debut, but we'll see on that. But that's the guy they're looking for. So you don't need somebody long-term at first base. That's why I thought that Yuli Gurriel is a guy that would make sense if he wants to play another year. I know he's 39 and coming off significant knee injury that he suffered during the World Series. Trey Mancini is another guy that I like to play first base short term. But I think that the lure from Baltimore may get him back in an Orioles uniform. But those are two free agent guys. But yeah, Brandon Belt, or Eric Hosmer are my two bigger choices.
So, Steve, what's this that I read that Tampa is going to split spring training at Tropicana Field and somewhere else in Florida? What's this?
Yeah, that came out yesterday. The Rays are going to hold their practices and their workouts at the Wide World of Sports complex at Walt Disney World in Orlando this year, and that'll March the 1st, and then starting on March 1st, they'll have workouts in Orlando, but the Grapefruit League games will take place at Tropicana Field. That is because the Rays Spring Training Complex in Port Charlotte is still damaged by Hurricane Ian, which came through back in September, and it's not going to be ready for the start of spring training. Now, the Rays are contracted to play spring training in Port Charlotte through 2031. So this is a 1 year only thing until they can get the facilities repaired from the hurricane. So they'll be in Orlando. I'm not going to be in Orlando, but they'll be in Orlando.
I'll ask one more question, then we'll chime in with Marty here. And I know I'm going to ask this, Steve. What's the latest you hear about a new stadium in Tampa, St. Petersburg, in Toronto, in wherever? Because I don't know where Tampa's going to play. Every year it seems, oh, we're coming to Montreal. We got a new stadium. We got this. We got that. What's the latest you hear?
All right, here is everything that you need to know, kind of whittled down to a 60 to 120 second little morsel here. There is one stadium site that currently is in play, and it is in St. Petersburg. It is the Tropicana Fields site. There is a proposal that has been put together by the Rays to redevelop the Tropicana Field site with a new baseball stadium and retail and residential and this, that, and the other, kind of turning it into a similar as like the Atlanta Braves did with their stadium, and turning it into a full entertainment district. That is right now up for public debate starting in January. And then the mayor of St. Petersburg, there are 4 different sites. Only one of them was put out by the Rays, but all 4 of them have have ballparks in them. So there would be spots for a ballpark in all 4 of these proposals. The city of Tampa then all of a sudden disclosed these, or somebody leaked these plans for a $2 billion stadium in Tampa. But the problem is there's no land. That stadium plan is contingent on the purchase of the land, and now that these plans have leaked, the price for that land just went way up. So I don't think that's going to happen. I think that if there's going to be a new stadium, it will be in St. Petersburg, and much to folks' chagrin who say, and I've been on plenty of radio stations right now that said, well, it doesn't work. They've played there for 30 years and it doesn't work. Well, it doesn't work because when that stadium was built, they just built a stadium. And now with this new plan, there's going to be, I think they said somewhere in the vicinity of 20,000 new residences and all this retail space. They are basically turning it into a destination place to be and to live. And if you can start drawing more people back across the bay into St. Petersburg, then obviously you're going to have more people to draw from in order to go to these games.
In hindsight, and then we'll go to somewhere else here, but in hindsight, should they have built the stadium here and not something in St. Petersburg or just something in Tampa? Because it's the Tampa Bay Rays, like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tampa Bay Lightning, not St. Petersburg Rays.
Well, but it's also not the Tampa Rays, and it's
Yeah.
not the Tampa Buccaneers. It's a regional asset, and with a ballpark, unfortunately, you got to go where the land is. And if there's no land, if there's no spot for the Rays to build a ballpark in Tampa, as I have said on a number of different places, you can't build on a wish. And so you have to be able to find a place. And if the city of Tampa goes, okay, we have this land that we can, provide for a ballpark. The city of St. Petersburg has said, okay, here's our spot. Build it. Give us your proposals. If the city of Tampa did the same thing, I'm sure that the Rays have a proposal ready for whatever site that they would be looking at. So, whether it was the Florida State Fairgrounds, which is actually outside the Tampa city limits, so the city wouldn't have any say in that. That would be Hillsborough County. But I look at what's going on with Tampa. Tampa has talked a good game. They talk a great game. They're like, oh, we want the Rays. We would love the Rays over here. All right, it's time for the rubber to meet the road. Where's the land? Where's the site? Where do you want this thing? And they just go, I don't know. And so, you've got to go where the land is.
All right, Marty, any other baseball questions before we turn to hockey?
No, just month and a half till guys start heading down to Florida to get ready. So it's coming awfully
54
quick.
days, not like I'm counting.
It's coming awfully quick, and there's still some moves that are going to be made by a lot of these teams to shore up some stuff. Like, even though the Mets are signing all these guys, they're going to make a couple trades as well, because now that they got Correa to play third base for 12 years, they don't need their youngsters that are coming up anymore. So they might be trading someone there. I think they had Escobar playing there last year. So there's a guy that's going to be up for trade. So there's some things that are going to happen. The Jays, they got 3 catchers. Are they going to trade one of them? Who are they going to trade them to? I think Tampa also needs a catcher. Am I right there, Steve?
Well, you can always use a catcher. Right now, they've got Francisco Mejia and Christian Bethancourt. They had made a serious and significant offer to the Oakland A's to try and get Sean Murphy before the A's went stupid and decided to do a 3-team trade with the Atlanta Braves and the Milwaukee Brewers just to get them out of the league. But yeah, if you look, there are so many guys that currently are still available. It's real. Okay, these guys, we can still go out, especially position wise, position player wise. There are so many guys right now that are still looking for teams, and that's the thing. You've seen a lot of guys go after pitching. You saw the Rays go after pitching. They said, we don't need pitching, but there are a lot of position players, and not so many pitchers. So that's why you saw a lot of teams go after pitching early.
And to think about it, 1 year ago at this time, we're talking about a lockout. 1 year later, we're signing 9 years, $350 million. On owners doing free agency. What did he already? $500 million. Like, unbelievable. 1 year ago it was a lockout. So it's like baseball, rich gets richer. And don't, Steve, Marty Roberts is going to invite you to Toronto to watch the new Rogers Center, where it's going to be state of the art, where they're still going to charge $26 for like 4 pounds of or 4 ounces of beer or whatever, right? So there you go.
Let me ask you this, guys. Let me ask you guys this: if you guys were a player in the MLB, is there any other agent other than Boris that you'd want?
No.
Like the deal breaks down with San Francisco, and not like hours later he's got the deal done with the Mets.
Yeah, I look at it, but you got to be really, really good to be a Boris client. You've got to, he's gotten to the point where he can pick and choose and go, you know what, you're not worth my time, and just kind of do this. The only other person that I would like to see be my agent would be Rock Nation. Get Jay-Z to be my my agent, because look at the deal he got Robinson Cano, and Robinson Cano made a load of money.
I was thinking about, you're gonna, after last night, you wanted Rick Ross as your representative, right? What a swerve that was. Anyways, let's get to the National Hockey League. I'll ask you the same question, Steve, that we started with baseball. Are the Maple Leafs better than the Tampa Bay Lightning this season? Because it looks like we're going to meet them again in the first round.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun first round, isn't it? I look at Toronto. They are much improved defensively this year, and that's That I think is a huge plus for them. As much as I like to dog Matt Murray, I thought he played. He's played the Lightning twice now in the last couple of weeks. Once here in Tampa, the Lightning won in overtime in that game. Once in Toronto, and the Leafs came out winners at Scotiabank Arena earlier this week. I got to give credit to Matt Murray. I got to give credit to Kyle Dubas in the front office for realizing, hey, we got to get better defensively if we're going to be successful here, and they've done just that. So I got to give kudos to them. They've been fantastic. Are they better than the Lightning? Well, let me see. I own one of these teams that's been to the last 3 straight Stanley Cup Finals. It ain't the Maple Leafs, so we'll find out.
Marty, go ahead. Your estimation on if the Maple Leafs are going to beat the Tampa Bay Lightning in the first round. Let's face it, unless Boston collapse, this is a first round matchup. The Leafs and Lightning, with the Leafs having home advantage.
With the Leafs, it's over the last few years, they've always been a team that's been pretty good in the regular season. Then it comes to the playoffs, and they forget what they're supposed to do. So until that time comes, I'm not going to say who they're going to play, who they're going to beat, but they're looking good right now, and a lot of that goes on the shoulders of Murray and Samsonov. That those two are being playing extremely well when they're in net. Do they stay healthy? That's the big thing with Murray over his career, is being health. Does he stay healthy? If he doesn't, then we're relying on Samsonov. So Samsonov gets hurt, then you're back to just being a middle of the pack team. It's like over the last few weeks they've bought into whatever Keith's been preaching to them, because all of a sudden, like Steve said, defensively they're looking really good now. They're keeping pucks to the outside. Like, look, they allowed Tampa, one of the top teams in the league, to have only 19 shots the other night, and that's pretty tough to do. So they bought into it. I love the Timmins pickup. I really do. He's fit right in nicely. Playing good back there, having himself some points. So it's too early to say if they'd beat anyone in the first round. But Toronto's always been a team in the last few years that looks good in the regular season. Come playoff time, it's almost like they forgot what they were doing.
So, Steve, just to sum up what he's saying, Marty Roberts has said right now that Justin Hall deserves Norris Trophy nomination. Justin Hall deserves Norris Trophy. And let's face it, for about 2 months, everybody
he was
wanted
god
him
awful. He was terrible. You're right. He was terrible. Now, you got to remember, too, Riley's out. When Riley comes back, what happens with this? Now, I know Sandin got hurt the other night. Who knows how long he's going to be out. But if you have all these guys there, who's sitting out in place of Riley? Right? Is it going to be the Timmins? Is it Sandin, Liljegren? Hall obviously is a no.
Sandin, Liljegren, and Timmins have been the anchors with Riley out there. So, and you're not going to put Brody out, taken out. And let's face it, this is probably in a month time we're going to have to make a decision about Jake Muzzin.
I don't think Jake Muzzin coming back. There's not a chance. I read some reports that if he gets hit again, it could be life changing. So I doubt that we see Muzzin. He's older as in sports years. He's got plenty of money. There's no point in going out and being a guy who rolls around in a wheelchair the rest of his life if he gets hit one more time. If I'm the Leafs, Muzzin is never on my radar ever again. And if I'm Muzzin, it's retirement at the end of the contract.
All right, so we're going to close it out here. Steve from Tampa Bay at St. Petersburg. Good, close personal friend. It's Christmas, Hanukkah, and all that. So, Steve, on behalf of everybody at Fired Up Network, I want to wish you and your wife, Emily, a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I didn't get my present. I'm a little bit pissed off here.
I got you the same thing I got you last year, Joe.
Donut. Not even a Tim Hortons donut. Okay, there you go. Donut. But no, honestly, Steve Carney, every time we call him up here on the Fired Up Network, never says anything. And now we made him an executive in Major League Baseball. So, thank you to the president of the provinces of Canada, soon the mayor-elect of North America, Steve Carney. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Anything you want to say to the millions and millions and millions, maybe two, fans of yourself?
Yeah, two if we're lucky. Because Emily right now is not listening. She's actually working in the next room. Just appreciate you guys. I always have a blast when I come on here. I always lose my voice because you always get me so what's the term? Oh yeah, fired up about everything that's going on here. So yeah, it's been a fun 2022. We'll see what 2023 has in store. I'm sure it should be fun.
All right, and honestly, you could see him. He talks about wrestling, talks about football, baseball, hockey, and all. There's not many people better than Steve Carney. Check him out in Tampa, and everybody in Tampa around the world. Steve Carney, it, reach out to me. I'll give you a great recommendation. And Steve Carney starts at 1-0 and builds up to 12 zeros if you want to hire him. There you go, Steve. You talk about it's all right, man. Come on.
By the way, before we finish up, one little wrestling note that actually involves other sports. Last night on AEW Dynamite, we saw Keith Lee get attacked by his former tag team partner and his new faction, and there was a masked mystery person that beat him up. That was all tatted up, and nobody knew who he was. Well, I know who he was because he happened to be a former Tampa Bay Ray. That's right. Grandin Getzman, who was part of the amazing 2011 draft class for the Tampa Bay Rays. They had 10 picks out of the first 75, and only one guy made the big leagues, and that was Blake Snell. But Grandin Getzman was one of those 10 picks in the first 75 taken by the Tampa Bay Rays. Never made the big leagues, and played with the Rays in the Rays organization up through 2019, and then turned to professional wrestling. He'd been training with Jay Lethal here in town, and he's the guy who made his AEW debut last night. He does not have a kayfabe name, so I can't use his kayfabe name, but congratulations to Grandin.
Yes, congratulations. And Marty Roberts has just texted me because Marty Roberts knows everything about wrestling. He asked Steve Carney get one of the 50 tattoos that Brandon has. All right, what's your comment?
No, you're not going to be seeing. You'll be seeing Marty getting tatted on his face before you see me getting tatted on mine.
All right, again, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you, Steve, and your lovely wife Emily. Now, Marty Roberts here has become a really good friend of the president of the provinces of Canada. Marty, I'll give it to you, your family, your wife. Maybe we should get one of your son on here to talk about some Pittsburgh Penguin stuff and all that. But Marty, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you and your family. Anything you want to say to the millions and millions of fans, especially one Greek guy who needs perfume on his hair there. And Steve knows what I'm talking about.
He needs his eyebrows done and all that. Yeah, yeah. No, everyone, I want to wish everyone happy holidays, Merry Christmas. It's been a fun 92 or 22.
92, that's about right.
Feels like that, right? 92. Heck, 92. Man, oh man, what was I, like 30 years old?
92, the Blue Jays won the World Series.
Right? Yeah, there you go. Maybe that's why I thought that. So this year, it's for sure Jays the World Series. No, but it's always fun coming on here. I love coming on with Steve. Wish everyone Merry Christmas. I'm heading out to the keg later on to have a little prime rib. No one.
Or are you gonna get it free as a Hanukkah? What?
Well, if you're sending your MasterCard over, yeah, I'm getting it for free.
The only MasterCard I use is Norm Rumack's ear. All right, Steve, that was the classic. It happened in 2021, but that was the greatest show we have ever done, right, Steve?
Yeah, I don't know if we've had a show like that ever. With myself and Joe and Jessica Singh and Norm Rumack's ear, and Marty, and it was. I mean, it brought out maybe one of the funniest lines that has ever been uttered on this network, and that was me saying that Norm Rumack was so old that the only apps that he knew was Sill apps. And then him going, "Oh, really?" And then you run over and take a picture of him in Sill apps. So of course, it's perfect.
All right. So again, happy holidays to Steve, his wife Emily, and Allison and Marty's kids there, and Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and have a safe, and happy holiday season. And Steve, by the way, tonight, tomorrow in Toronto, or in where Marty lives in Barrie, it's about 30 centimeters of snow. Okay, so you want to switch places for about a weekend, Steve?
It's why the Lightning decided they were coming home instead of going to Buffalo for a game on Friday.
Yes, the NHL is going to cancel more games from what I hear on Friday. They canceled the Buffalo game. That game will be made up on March 4th. And by the way, look for an announcement. Steve, maybe we want to unveil this, but the 2020, actually 24 Winter Classic will be Seattle and Vegas, from what I hear. Steve, have you heard anything about that?
I've not heard anything about the 24 Winter Classic yet. Usually that we'll know that here probably right around New Year's Day. So I would assume Seattle and Vegas kind of makes sense, especially if you're going to hold it at
It's in
Seahawks
Seattle.
Stadium.
In
Yeah,
Seattle. Yeah.
yeah. If you're going to hold it at CenturyLink Field, that I think makes the most sense. And if they hold it at CenturyLink Field, it's going to be a loud. That's going to be a loud barn. It's been a long time since we've had a barn that loud.
Again, we break news here on the Fired Up Network. Breaking news, Marty. Breaking news, and you don't have to look on Instagram for it, Marty. All right. So there you go. This has been the Sports Wrap on the Fired Up Network. Steve Carney, tell everybody where to get a hold of you.
You can get a hold of me right here at Steve Carney, which is where I am on Twitter and on Lightning Radio, 24/7 on the TuneIn app, USF Bull Limited also on TuneIn, where we got men's and women's going, and of course Lightning hockey.
All right, then again, Steve Carney, thank you for everything you do for me and for Fired Up Network, and say hello to your lovely wife. Go ahead, Marty.
Twitter, Instagram, Old Lefty 22, and anyone who's at the cake tonight can pick up my tab.
Is it 22 or 92?
22. It's right there on the
All
screen.
right.
I can't miss it.
All right. Again, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to all the fans out there, to Marty, his wife, Allison, kids, and Steve and Emily. Stay tuned for more great programming here on the Fired Up Network. Thanks a lot, guys. Thank you to Steve Carney and Marty Roberts. You'll see more of Marty towards the end of the show when we do the Maple Leafs Forever recap of the Maple Leafs Philadelphia Flyers game, the next generation game that was played today at 2 p.m. Now we present the Ultimate Fantasy Football Show. Andy McNamara. Usually this is on Sundays, but because Christmas and we had the World Cup of Soccer and next week New Year's, so we're doing it on Thursday. Here is Andy with a special guest. And don't forget today, about I would say half an hour. We have Thursday night football, and it's a good matchup, a very good matchup. The Jets hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville coming to New York. It's cold, but we got to play football. Here's Andy McNamara.
Ho, ho, ho! The Andy Claus is here. Fantasy football's here. NFL Week 60 is here. Happy holidays, everybody. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy holidays. Thursday night football, Week 16. Weather all over the place. I got Christmas lights dangling all over it. It's tremendous. Happy holidays, everybody. Hope everybody is staying safe. They're calling it the Siberian Express weather movement. The pattern, Siberian Express. Not good. Everything pretty much from Chicago east. Oh, look at the snow. The snow's even coming in here, folks. Oh, my gosh. From Chicago east, weather's going to be a factor. in likely a big way. Games on Thursday tonight, of course, Saturday, Sunday, all over. So we'll get you ready. Fantasy football. We're going to give away some Domino's pizza as well. Okay. Hey, I'm in a generous mood, feeling good. Tell you how to win some Domino's pizza in a few minutes. My guy Johnny Avello from Las Vegas is going to be joining us in some of the trends we're seeing. And what does this weather have to do? I'm feeling a lot of unders this week. We'll talk to Johnny about that, but get you ready. Week 16, give you my perfect DraftKings DFS lineup for Thursday night football and get into some of the start sits options for what is going to be a busy week around the National Football League. Make sure you give me a follow on Twitter at AndyMC81, at FiredUpNet, on Instagram as well, at AndyMCSports. How you can win some Domino's pizza. Very easy. All you do, you go over to AndyMC81 on Twitter, look for the tweet where I talk about you'll see the Domino's pizza. You retweet it, and I want to know your fantasy football player present this year. What was the best result? What was a gift that you got? Was it value on when you drafted a certain player? Was it somebody blew up or popped when you really needed them to? What was that present that you got from fantasy football this year? So I want to hear about that. If you reply with it, retweet that tweet, you'll be entered to win some delicious Domino's pizza. With all the weather coming, you could probably use it. Get some delivery out there. Send somebody else out to go get the food. So at AndyMC81, at FireDipNet, check that out. Now some news. Gardner Minshew Mania, baby. It's back. It's back. I got all the Hulkster stuff back there. The Hulkamania. No, Minshew Mania with the stash, the jorts. Oh, look, more festivities. I love it. The bandanas, everything. Gardner Minshew officially will start. Jalen Hurts will sit. Disappointing because I really wanted to see that showdown, that NFC East showdown between Hurts and Dak, Eagles, Cowboys. But he's got to, what's your present? There you go. What's your fantasy football present this year? I really wanted to see that matchup. We're not going to get it. But we do have some intrigue with Gardner Minshew coming in for that Eagles-Cowboys game. And what really stands out to me is, one, okay, you're not replacing Jalen Hurts at quarterback for your fantasy team in your fantasy playoffs. You can get your questions into, you got fantasy football questions for your playoffs, for DFS contests. Hit me up on Twitter at AndyMC, on Instagram at AndyMCSports. Use hashtag AskAndy so I can find it. So we're not replacing Jalen Hurts, so what do we do? Well, Gardner Minshew, I think, still could have some fantasy value in a spot start. Remember, you are getting Dallas Goedert back. That's big time for that Eagles offense. Minshew has shown throughout his career he can be fantasy relevant. He is fearless. That Dallas defense is really good, though. I think the biggest beneficiary of this are the Eagles running backs, namely Miles Sanders. Because with Hurts, we saw him run in 3 touchdowns last week, right? Minshew's mobile, but he's not going to do that. So you can have a more effective running game. And we've seen the running game in spots be effective, be fantasy football relevant. Miles Sanders now has a chance to really step up into that role. Kenneth Gainwell, secondary. Boston Scott, unless he gets some goal line carry, not going to do it for you. But Miles Sanders, if you are, because I get questions each week about Miles Sanders, and he's sort of a RB2 bubble guy with all the possibilities for Jalen Hurts to run. This week, I think you can start him confidently. I think you can get Miles Sanders. He gets top 12 potential. He really does. He's got top 12 potential this week. So Miles Sanders, biggest beneficiary, secondary Kenneth Gainwell. Gainwell is a bit more of a flex, what if possible. I'd feel more comfortable if you were playing him in your DFS contest, DraftKings contest, whatever, as a contrarian play. You should get some more reps, but this should be Miles Sanders' backfield. Again, Dallas Goedert back. I don't love playing him, but we know, folks. We know how thin the tight end group is. We know how barren it is, how empty the cupboards are when it comes to fantasy tight ends. So you might not have a choice. I'll tell you this, though. A guy, Evan Ingram, for the Jacksonville Jaguars. This guy's had a disappointing fantasy career overall, and has been with the Giants, never really fulfilled expectations. For this Thursday night game, if you want to get yourself some Evan Ingram, depending what league you're in, maybe he's available, maybe he's not. Yeah, it shows that he's available 25 to 30% of most leagues, depending. Last 3 weeks, he's gotten you into the teens for fantasy points. This is his last 3 weeks for Evan Ingram, tight end for the Jags. 14 fantasy points against Detroit. 42.2 against the Tennessee Titans. And 14.2 against the Dallas Cowboys. So we see that type of success. And what really stands out to me is this past week where he was able to get into those teams, he didn't have a touchdown. So you weren't relying on that touchdown. It was target share. It was 10 targets. It was 8 receptions. Trevor Lawrence was balling out. Zay Jones, stud. I'll talk more about him later on. But you had him in 3 touchdowns in this past 3 games, but none the last week. And he still produced that. So Evan Ingram, very strong play. I would put Evan Ingram right up there as a top fantasy play for Thursday night. The weather looks like where, unlike in other spots around the northern states, like I said, from Chicago, elsewhere, it looks like if you are playing Saturday, Sunday, it's going to be messy. Looks pretty good. 34 Fahrenheit, clear. And on the weather thing, you see a little moon and a little cloud. That's pretty good. Doesn't look like any big gusting winds or anything like that. So should be okay. Always a bit of the risk when it comes to these warm weather. It's not like Jacksonville is, comfortable playing in super cold conditions, but it should be, and it looks like it should be fine. It should be doable for December weather. So you should feel pretty confident looking at that direction. Get to some of your gifts, your presents, your fantasy football player present results. So the Andy Claus can give you, got my festive red, can give you some Domino's pizza. Chance to enter. Make sure you're following on Twitter at AndyMC81. Retweet. Send me, what's your fantasy football gift this year? What's your fantasy football gift? I'm going to get to one right now. At NBello Toronto says Isaiah McKenzie at Buffalo Bills. Okay. Isaiah McKenzie, a guy who, while Gabe Davis was really highly drafted, oversold. He had that, we all remember that epic touchdown play. But Isaiah McKenzie, where you probably got him in the draft, is a good value. Now I'm just looking at his season so far. At week 3, 4, couple weeks pop, 19er, and then he's been quiet the last 3 weeks. So we'll get more fantasy football. But from Las Vegas, my guy, Johnny Avello. I see him on the screen right there. Johnny, how are you?
Dude, doing well, Andy. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Well, happy holidays, sir. Great to have you on. Hope everything's good there in Vegas. I'm sure a bit warmer than what most of the North is expecting this weekend, right?
Yeah, it cooled down a little bit. It was in the high 40s, but over the next 5 or 6 days, we're going to be in the mid 60s. I'm very happy about that.
Man, that hurts, Johnny. That hurts. That's not great from where I am and where a lot of these teams are. And this is the time of year when we're looking at what wagers to place, what to keep in mind when you're throwing some bucks down on the NFL. Johnny, this is the time of year where you really have to put on your meteorologist hat on and pay close attention to the weather, right?
Definitely. And it all starts tonight with a game in New York where we know it's going to be cold. It's the weather over the next 3 to 5 days back there is going to be, there's wind in some spots. There's wind chill factor taking it down, minus 20s. So, this is a time where you got to kind of do a little bit of handicapping on the teams, how they play in this type of weather, and certainly look for wind, Andy. Wind is the number one factor that affects a game. If you get wind 10, 15 miles an hour, that's certainly going to slow down the scoring.
Yeah, that's a great point. Not necessarily just the temperature, but the wind. Very important there. One game for the Browns versus the Saints in Cleveland. Johnny, they're saying in that stadium, I've been in many times, right down off the shores of Lake Erie. They're expecting winds around 20, 25 miles an hour, but with gusts up to 50. Like, you're not throwing the football on that, and you're probably not kicking it either.
Yeah, that totals dropped from the opener of 38 down to 32. Mm-hmm. And some people look at the 32 and say, that's so low, I got to bet that over. But how are the teams going to move the football? Maybe it's best to wait and jump on the end game in that, see how it goes early.
Yeah, the in game is interesting to see. I would say if I'm looking at that, Johnny, the 32.5, I still like the under. Browns won last week in cold, nowhere near what the weather's supposed to be like. But last weekend against Baltimore in Cleveland, it was cold, bit of a wind, flurries, and they won 13-3. It's not like the Saints are really lighting it up this year. You have Andy Dalton, Michael Thomas is out again. And really, I hope at least from an entertainment standpoint, maybe we see some creativity, right? You get Taysom Hill can always be a bit of a wild card there.
Saints aren't a big scoring team either. They won. I think they beat the Raiders. I think it was 13-0 or something. So, they're a low scoring team also. They don't take a lot of chances. Put the ball in Hill's hands. That helps. Maybe you get a breakaway. But for the most part, that's not a team I see scoring a lot of points either.
No, me neither. I'm slamming the under on that 32.5. Now, this is what is interesting to me when you look at the lines here. We talk, again, cold weather. Bears hosting the Bills in Chicago. You have to track, and like you said, in-game is always a good option as well, but you have to track to see what things are going to be like. Looks like it should be cold, but then I see, the little icon might be a bit sunny. That's something to track. If the weather's poor, where are you at when you see lines like, the Bills up by 8, 8.5, 9.5 on some books earlier in the week? When it could be a cold weather game, is that something you shy away from that big of a difference, or does it matter?
Well, the bettors, when we opened this game 10, it was sitting at 10 early, and then 9.5, 9. It's dropped all the way down to 8.5. Might even go lower. The bettors are saying that I'm going to take anything over a touchdown in a game where, the weather's going to be cold. If they win, maybe they win by a score only. And the Bills, even though a cold weather team, if there's wind, there's no such thing as a win team. There just doesn't happen. And that's what they're expecting, some really bad weather up there. Last night I saw wind chills of minus 25, 30. So that's one of those spots in the country, could be the coldest overall. And the bettors are just taking the points, thinking that that the Bills, even if they win this game, it won't be by much.
Yeah, you could get into running, field goals, whatever it might be, and maybe even not, because again, if you're kicking, you don't want to be tossing the ball up in the air like that. It shows, I think, 14 before the wind chill. Oh, that sounds nasty. Oh, boy. That sounds really bad. Here's an interesting game, and news coming out. Looks like Ryan Tannehill done for the year, hosting the Texans. And while at first glance we think of the Texans as being terrible, and they are, the last 2 weeks, Johnny, we've seen them be at least a tough out. Like the last 2 weeks, because Dallas was like a 17-point favorite. Then the other week, I think the Texans covered as well. Where are you at just with as bad teams are this time of year? And let's talk Texans for a moment, because again, they're not good. There's nothing that really jumps out to you, but they've made some people some money the last 2 weeks, at least covering the spread.
Yeah, they're not awful. They're one win, but they're potentially better than being that on a week-to-week basis, and they've showed that. Tennessee is just kind of in a funk right now. Otherwise, this line would be, if you went back for a month ago, 6 weeks ago, and looked at this game, Texans are probably at least a touchdown in this one, but things are just not working right now for the Titans, and they just need to, put it together, still have a chance to make the playoffs and maybe turn it around. But it all starts in this game right here. Otherwise, lose this game, this team is telling you that, we just don't have it this year. So the line's 3. It's probably going to more than 3 as far as the juice is concerned, because we're at 3 minus 15. I could see 3 minus 20. I could even see this thing going to 3.5 by game time. But, it's a dangerous team to bet on right now, Tennessee, because they're just not performing well.
No, they're not. And even if they get into the playoffs, they're screaming a one and done with their current scenario. And here's something else we have to consider. Like I said, Ryan Tannehill looks to be done for the year with that ankle. Malik Willis is in. They played the Texans back in week 8. In the 3 games he played, the Titans did not score more than 17 points. So they found ways to win. They won 2, lost 1. but didn't score more than 17. Weather won't be in it, or shouldn't be too much of an issue down there. But there again sits that 35.5 point total. And I'm wondering, before people start realizing that Tannehill might be done, is that maybe an underplay? Because the Texans don't put up many points either.
Yeah, Willis has got a long way to go in the league. He played for Liberty. He was a pretty good quarterback there. Put up a lot of points, but still made a lot of errors too. So this is a league about learning for a lot. Learning, it takes a couple of years to. For some, they just jump right in and get it. He's not one of those type of guys, but he is a runner, and that certainly helps in the NFL these days. I think you need to be a runner and a passer both. If you're one or the other, that doesn't work. Certainly, if you're a passer only, that doesn't work. So you got to have the talents on both sides. He's okay. He's an okay guy to have out there, but Tannehill's much better in that Tannehill has been in the league in a while with a lot more experience. So, I think Tennessee would be happy to, win this game by a point, knowing that, we need to get on the right track.
Yeah, pretty much. Is there any game that jumps out to you as far as, like, let's say money line or just odds that really kind of slam out as like, wow, like I'm looking at we were talking earlier with the news of Gardner Minshew coming in for Jalen Hurts. Eagles to straight up win on the DraftKings Sportsbook for the money line, plus 230. Cowboys almost got surprised by the Texans. I think the Cowboys are playing great, but Minshew's proven to be confident. Like, I don't know, Johnny. I'm looking plus 230. You're getting a piece like Dallas Goedert back. You still have a solid running game. Their defense is good. Divisional game is plus 230. Is that something you like? What's the action sort of been on that Eagles Cowboys since the news of Gardner Minshew popping in?
Yeah, there's going to be money on the Eagles money line, but this is where I would beware, is that the Dallas rushing defense is not very good. They're near the bottom of the league. And when you've got a guy like Hurts playing, he's very hard to contain. He is major problems for a team like the Cowboys. Minshew is not that type of player. I mean, Minshew has started maybe 20 games in the NFL. And if you look, he doesn't have a lot of rushing yards. So that's not his game. Will he run for, 2 yards if needed? Yes. But he's not going to be an offensive weapon with his legs. So he's going to have to do it in the air. And I'm not so sure that this is the spot that, you'd want this Eagle team. Now, they may keep it close. If you're going to bet the Eagles in this game, you might consider taking the 6 points. But this is a big game for the Cowboys. In my opinion, this is a meaningless game for the Eagles. They're going to win the division. They're still going to probably be the number one seed when it's all said and done because, Minnesota's certainly not playing all that well. They're going to have their hands full with the Giants this week. So, and that's the reason Hurts isn't playing. Hurts probably could have went. It wouldn't have been a good idea because those shoulder injuries could, flare up again. So even if it was minor, that he could go, but why not give him a week off? Because there's bigger fish to fry here, Andy. It's not about this game for the Eagles. It's about getting much further than this.
Yeah, absolutely. That you mentioned the Giants, boy, and the Vikings are it's so tricky to figure this team out, right? Because they made that big comeback, but they've been they just seem like a good regular season team. But what does it mean? But we're still in the regular season. The Giants have been gamers, but we've seen them start to steadily decline as the year goes on. But if I'm looking plus 185, I think the Vikings will win the game, but boy, the Giants are good enough. And the quarterbacks that have thrown for 300 plus yards over Minnesota's defense in recent weeks are not, world beaters. You got like Mike White doing stuff and some guys in the average or below average. Daniel Jones can run. He can throw a bit too. And I don't know, plus 185, the Giants.
I wouldn't blame you there. Matty Ice also had a good game against him, and he's just been off all year. I don't trust the Vikings. I don't trust the Giants either. So It's a tough call. But the Giants are overachieving, that's for sure. Minnesota got off to a good start, and besides last week's game where that sensational comeback, And being 11-3, they just don't look like an 11-3 team. So, yeah, that just goes to show you they're only a 4.5-point favorite over the Giants. They're at home. Giants are 8-5, and they're 11-3, and they're only 4.5, which is a little bit more than on a neutral field. They might be a 1.5-point favorite, 2 over the Giants at the most. So it's just showing that those teams are kind of equal on the power ratings, close to it anyway.
In conversation with Johnny Avello, DraftKings Sportsbook Director out of Las Vegas. Okay, Johnny, let's start talking MVPs. And we kind of dip in and out of that conversation as the year goes on. Looks like Joe Burrow may be gaining some steam. He has to have a hot finish. But what are your thoughts on the current MVP odds around the NFL? And who do you like?
Well, Hurts was a big favorite. Now, when I say big, he went to -170 or so about 3 days ago. But when the news broke that he wasn't going to play, he went to plus $5, $5.50. And the reason that is you can't miss a game now. Down the wire here, you cannot miss a game because those other guys are all playing and their stats are going to be elevated because you're missing a game, they're not. When you look at the guys that are left in the mix, and you look at this week's games, so Hurts is out, we know that. You got Joe Burrow in the mix, like you said. You got Allen in the mix, like you said. Those guys both have tough games this week in cold weather situations. The Chiefs with Mahomes are at home and a big favorite, 10 points. It looks like Mahomes should have a big day. So that's why Mahomes is about a $3 favorite right now, because it looks like he'll have a big day and maybe pull ahead of these guys with only 2 weeks to go.
That's a good point. And all comes back again to that weather conversation. So Mahomes there, but yeah, and Bengals too. Yeah, you're playing the Patriots. That defense is always tough. That's difficult. So
yes.
No, just quick side. What did you think of that finish with Patriots Raiders? Have you ever seen anything more ridiculous? Belichick, oh my gosh. You just know he was just like, I'm going to destroy something. That must have just killed him.
It was very uncharacteristic for a Belichick coach team. Now, what happened to the player, and I think, this is probably thought through by a lot of people, is he thought that was the end of the game. Mm-hmm. He forgot that there was a whole overtime period yet to be played. So during the play, he gets the ball, he rushes for about 15, he's going out of bounds, and all of a sudden he thinks, well, I got to keep this game going or we're going to lose. That came to his mind. So he lost his train of thought. Unfortunately, it looked bad. Yeah.
Just hilarious from a viewer standpoint, horrifying from the player and coaching standpoint. Johnny, look, great stuff, man. Tell people again where they can. DraftKings is all over the place, so it's not hard to find there. But people can bet pretty much everywhere now, or soon to be, right?
Well, yeah, we're adding Ohio on January 1st.
Yeah.
Massachusetts should be on board sometime in the early spring. So, yeah, we're adding new states, and we're easy to find. Even if you're in a state that doesn't have legalized sports betting, you can play our free pools anyway. They're free to anybody around the country because they're free. We put up the money and you play and try to win it. And we do everything in there besides sports. We do a lot of entertainment odds, Housewives, Survivor, weather, all kinds of things. So that's a way to get engaged with DraftKings if you've never been on the platform before.
Yeah, those pools are a lot of fun. I like that. Johnny, happy holidays, sir. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Andy.
All right, there he is, Johnny Avello from Las Vegas, Nevada, director of the DraftKings Sportsbook. Okay, for the Thursday night, I want to get to my perfect DraftKings DFS contest slate. My perfect lineup. If it's perfect, I'll win like $1 million. So, but this is my perfect lineup. So the DraftKings contest, what you do for the individual games called a showdown contest. So you still have your $50,000 salary cap, but you have a captain spot. What that means is you get 1.5 times the fantasy points, but it costs you 1.5 times the player's salary. For me, I'm putting in Zay Jones. And I've been telling you for a month, people, to pick up Zay Jones, Put him in your fantasy football playoff lineup. If you listen, like me, I got Zay Jones in one of my lineups. He almost single-handedly catapulted me into the semifinals of one of my leagues. 31 plus fantasy points. I'm not saying he's getting 3 touchdowns every week, of course. But the guy's been steady. He's been the go-to. The target share is double digits to a man. It's phenomenal. Against New York, again, the weather, it'll be cold, but you have to watch the wind. Maybe that decreases a little bit if it's not too windy. You might be okay. I have Zay Jones in my captain spot, 12,300 pricey. Now I go to Michael Carter. And the reason I go to Michael Carter over Zonovan Knight popped up on the injury report, and he's going to be a game-time decision. Ankle. For a running back, as we know, that's not good to have a bum ankle. He might be limited. Keep an eye on as well. Is James Robinson activated? If he is, that really kills Zonovan Knight. Robinson, coach's decision, inactive. We're staying away from him, but Michael Carter should be the biggest beneficiary there. I got him in there at 6,400. Travis Etienne, stud. He's averaging 12.7 fantasy points a game this year. But overall, in the past few weeks, let's see. Yeah, you got 16.7 last week. Went a little cold, then popped back up. Etienne again. If it does get cold, that's the guy you want in the lineup. He's getting the starter share. You want to know who's getting the starter share? Who's getting the majority? Who's going to get the opportunity? What do I always say, people? Opportunity equals success in fantasy football. Travis Etienne, get in there. I have the Jags defense. And you got Zach Wilson in there. Zach Wilson sucks. Sorry. Guy's not good. Last 2 games, back-to-back games, 12 fantasy point days for the Jaguars defense. Not against scrubs either. Dallas and Tennessee. You could be getting some double digits. That's going to cost you $3,800. Then I go to Trevor Lawrence, 11,400. Has the toe, has the Q. Don't be concerned. Trevor Lawrence has been absolutely balling out 21 or more fantasy points in 3 of his last 4. Trevor Lawrence, you got to get into the lineup. And then to mix it up at the end for $4,000, I got Riley Patterson, the Jaguars kicker. Put him in there because otherwise you're getting a backup guy. Patterson's going to kick as long as the wind isn't too bad. Shouldn't be too bad. He's got 11 fantasy points, 13 in his past 2 games. Good enough, right? Accurate. Doing it. And if I can get myself 8 to 12 fantasy points from a kicker, that's probably what I'm getting from a 4th receiver or running back, right? Or backup running back. So that's my perfect lineup. Captain, Zay Jones, then Michael Carter, Travis Etienne, Jaguars defense, Trevor Lawrence, and Riley Patterson, the kicker. Let me know yours on Twitter at AndyMC81. Remember, people, you can win some Domino's pizza, right? Win that Domino's pizza. All you do, retweet my Domino's tweet, use it, and then use hashtag AskAndy at AndyMC81. Okay? And you retweet that tweet and give me, the Andy Claus is giving away your Domino's pizza. Okay? Give me your Christmas gift, your fantasy football present from a player result. I read Isaiah McKenzie earlier from Nicholas. At Gary Block 11 says, when your playoff opponent's starting QB is hurt and he has to go to the waiver wire to find a replacement, he said Gary said that is his fantasy football present. Yeah, that sure is, man. That's tough. The order I would say to go into. Check if Derek Carr is available. He's gotten you 17 or more fantasy points, 5 of his last 6. See if he's there. Was available in about 40-ish%, 45%, maybe a bit less in most leagues. After that, Trevor Lawrence was still available in 25% of leagues. See, check. Maybe he's not there. Then I'd go Gardner Minshew. Then I would go Brock Purdy banged up. Okay, that's sort of the list of the order. Otherwise, kids, it's gonna be, you're not replacing Jalen Hurts. You're just not, right? It's not going to be great. So there you go. Let me know your Thursday night football fantasy line. Let me know if you have any other fantasy football questions. Like I said, on Twitter at AndyMC81. Follow up Firedup.net as well. On Instagram at AndyMCSports. Make sure you share the link to the show. Retweet the tweet and send me your fantasy football present. Win some Domino's pizza. Let's have some fun. Thanks to Johnny Avello. Thanks to producer Joe. I'm Andy McNamara. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Football tonight. Football this weekend. Stay warm, everybody. I'm Andy McNamara.
Hey everyone, my name is Samia and I'm part of the Blaze female empowerment movement on the Firedup Network. I would like to wish all our viewers and listeners a very happy holidays and all the best for 2023.
Hi, my name is Stefan Luciani. I cover Major League Baseball, the Toronto Blue Jays, as well as international motorsport. And on behalf of the Fired Up Network, we want to thank you all for your continued support and wish you a very happy holidays.
Well, thank you to Andy McNamara, his guest on the Ultimate Fantasy Football Show. Stefan Luciani, and Samia for their well wishes. Just underway in, it looks like it's a rainy East Rutherford, New Jersey, Jacksonville, and the Jets there also. But today they had the next generation game at the Scotiabank Arena between the Maple Leafs and Philadelphia Flyers. We're going to do Maple Leafs Forever post game show with myself and, of course, the grizzled young veteran Marty Roberts, who you've seen earlier on with Steve Carney. But here is myself and grizzled young veteran Marty Roberts on Maple Leafs Forever. And welcome to the Fired Up Network. Welcome to the flagship show of the Fired Up Network, Fired Up Live. Welcome to Maple Leafs Forever. The Maple Leafs played the next generation game at the Scotiabank Arena today at 2 p.m. Marty Roberts was on here prior with Steve Carney. At least you changed. You went to the game. You look good. Thank God there's no snowstorm yet. Be careful. By the time we end off the show, there may be snow, there may be ice, there may be wind, there may be rain, there may be a 4-1 lead turning into 4-3 lead, turning into a nail biter. For me, the story of this game was not the Maple Leafs. It was Morgan Frost scoring in at the Scotiabank Arena, formerly the Air Canada Centre, where his father, Andy Frost, Psychedelic Sunday Q107, announced Maple Leaf goal scored by number 13. Matt Sunday announced it for 20 years. What a thrill for Morgan Frost. And I'm sure Andy is sitting at the Scotiabank Arena having a wobbly pop or two, because he has that, right? Maybe a hot dog or whatever. And watching us, think about that. You have a son. Fortunately, I don't. You have a son, and your son plays at the arena where you dreamt about playing, being an NHLer, scoring a goal. Take me through how that feeling. Maple Leafs beating the Flyers, like you can see here, 4-3. Nail biter. First period, the Maple Leafs, they outshot the Flyers throughout. What were the shots on goals? Can you look at that, Marty?
34-19 in favor of the Maple Leafs.
34-19. And again,
so that's back-to-back games. The Leafs have allowed less than 20 shots versus an opponent, right? Tampa Bay was pretty solid doing that. Now you got Philadelphia. Now, I'm lucky enough to know Morgan Frost. He's friends with my son. I've watched hockey player too. I played in the OHL as well. Coming back home, yes, he's just north of the city. He's from Aurora. But could you imagine if Andy was still doing this at the game and having that thrill of calling out his son's name? Like, there would be no bigger feeling for Morgan coming back home and popping one in the net and just coming back home. He probably had hundreds of friends and family there watching the game, watching on TV. Morgan is a great kid. Like I said, I've known them since they're probably about 13, 14 years old. Morgan's a great kid. He's a very personal kid, very likable kid. I'm glad he's in town for the Fly. He's got talent. Morgan has talent. He's got some skill. He can skate. He's got a little bit of a mean streak in him too. He's not a big kid, but when he has a mean streak in him. So it's great to see that Morgan scored a goal versus the Leafs today.
That was really there. Mitch Mooring and all the suspects. Maple Leafs winning 4-3. A little bit of a nail biter coming into third period. They were up 4-1, and then late goals by the Flyers kept it in. Samsonov a little bit shaky tonight.
His five hole was open up an awful lot. I think two of them went in through there. One for sure he should have had. Like, his stick was not in front. So these guys are due to have some bad games. Murray and Samsonov, like, they're number 2 in the league for goals against average at 2.36, I think it is. So they've been doing a damn good job there. The Leafs not allowing a lot of shots helps them out. I think the one thing the Leafs have to improve on is their PK unit. I think they're 14th in the league at 78%. So they got to improve that. I think one was scored today again. I think Philadelphia was 1 for 4, 1 for 5 today on their power play. So that's the one thing the Leafs are going to have to clean up. But defensively, they're playing pretty good, not allowing a lot of shots, which makes it easy for the goaltenders, right? Clear out front of the net, allow the goalie to see it, and it makes the game a lot easier. Like Matthews came up with a big help late in the game. I think it was going to be the tying goal where he hit the stick of the Flyer player and he ended up missing the net. So that's what they need. When Matthews buys into this, and like I said, over the last few weeks, it's like the whole team has bought into whatever Keefe has been teaching them, and they said, hey, this is what we have to do to win this game. Now, we've talked about this. Can they do this during playoff time? We'll see.
And they got a little bit of a rivalry with Flyers last game. Matthews and John, and then the last couple minutes feisty. And kudos to a Tortorella there. Tortorella's been given a good coach, first of all with the Lightning, then all over the National Hockey League and criticizing the Rangers reporter there and everything like that. But he's taken a young team and wants to show them how to win, how to play the right way. And Philly, mark my words, in a year, 2, 3, are going to be right there. They got some good veterans, a good goalie and all that. And you know what, dare I say it, he's become a coach's coach. And that, you wouldn't say that about 5-10 years ago from Tortorella.
I saw Tortorella say something about coaches had to adapt, and they do. If you want to stick around in this league, you have to adapt. Yes, he's still a hard ass. There's no question about it. But to push the buttons of certain when not to push those buttons. That's what guys have to do if they want to keep coaching this league. It's the same as what it was, even 5-6 years ago. It's more I don't know if it's like a white gloves approach now, but it's not the same as what it used to be when he first came into the league, where you could be hard and it would work. Now, if you're too hard on someone, they just shut you off and they don't play for you. So he's learned that. I don't know how long he'll stick with that. If they keep losing games, eventually the old Tortorella is going to come out. But he has usually a window of 2-3 years where players buy into his system. Let's face it, like Philadelphia has some players on it, but they're not there yet. They're definitely not, right. They have a lot of good young guys. They're goaltending. They got Hart there, who I'm not the biggest fan of Hart, but he does show up every now and then and play pretty good. If he can be more consistent, he might be that guy that they can ride. But they have some good young guys there, and Tortorella might be able to get some of them out of there. Like, I know Frost was scratched for a few games. Philadelphia's, I think, leading scorer was scratched for a game. So Tortorella still knows how to try and use that to his advantage to get these guys going on all cylinders. So right now, Tortorella's doing what he's supposed to do.
All right, well, the Maple Leafs again go into the holiday break, beating the Flyers, beating, the Lightning, very tough game there, beating the Lightning, beating the Flyers. Now, I got to ask you, Marty, these weekday games, 2 p.m., you like it? I know you're off today and all that, but if you were driving the TTC bus, taking this Patricia all over the place, to malls and everything like that for Christmas shopping, what would you think? Do you like these 2 p.m. weekday games?
If I'm off on that time, yeah, they'd be great. And if I could afford a Leaf ticket, it'd be even better. But I was looking, there was standing room seats, $130 for a 2
Marty,
p.m.
a man of your stature, getting paid royalty big time by the Fired Up Network. And by the way, Marty, we are not a flagrant corporation here. We are taking off. And I'm sure in 2023 we're gonna wave bye-bye to some people who said some stuff here and all that, And Marty, they say you go between both sides, or one side, the other side. You are the.
Yeah, I'm a lover, not a fighter. I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Yeah, and
I'm a lover, not a fighter.
You don't here to have any hair products or eyebrows and stuff
I'm
like that.
I'm a lover. No tank tops on, nothing like that.
Yeah. No soccer talk. You, and by the way, I know you're clamoring for this, all right? So I'm going to reveal this now. There's going to be a snowstorm tonight, tomorrow, Saturday, right? In time for Christmas, right?
Yeah, game's already canceled for tomorrow.
Yeah, already school's canceled. You know what we're going to do? We're going to add more shows. The only one working, the hardest man working in show business and sports media and everything is myself, you. You're not going to do a show, but we are going to have, hopefully, the coach, Carmen Asako. We're going to have.
Am I coming on the soccer show? Is that what you're asking? Am I coming on the soccer show?
The soccer show to give the World
a little
Cup
footy
final review. We're going to talk about MLS. We're going to have Carmen Asako, John Freeman Nelson, maybe John Carlo and all that. But also, we're going to add another show tomorrow. We're going to have the Renaissance Mama, and we're going to have exclusive worldwide. You like this? Like a worldwide.
I don't know what the heck you're doing, Joe. You're making me dizzy.
Exclusive LSU coach, LSU fame coach Dale Brown, and he's going to talk about coaching Shaquille O'Neal, not coaching Drew Ebanks.
Big Diesel.
Yes, not coaching Drew Ebanks, not coaching.
Wait, speaking of Drew Ebanks here, I saw him get some award dressing up all fancy. What award did he get?
You call that fancy? He did. That wasn't that. You know, wait a minute. I shouldn't say this, Drew. I'm sorry. I know it's Christmas, but we're all in the holiday spirit. Come on, Drew. You text me that picture when you went to Walmart.
Joseph, what jersey are you wearing?
Sorry, what jersey?
What jersey are you wearing right now?
I'm not wearing a jersey. This is
it looks like a Montreal Canadian jersey you are wearing. What? This is
no.
Leafs forever, Joseph, and you're wearing red. Montreal. Justin Levine would be so happy with you right now.
I'm Jewish, so I'm going to ask you this: isn't Christmas? Don't you wear red? Don't you wear red for Christmas? You wear green, I wear red. There you go.
Santa wears red.
Never mind. All right, you like that? Come on, Marty. You were a Santa Claus in your, illustrious career at some malls, right? Come on.
I was the elf.
And you were already Kipling. How's the job at Kipling doing?
No longer. Taylor Woods did not help me out there.
How's the job?
I think she helped kick me out the door. I really do, because she kept telling me my head was too big to fit into that. Can you believe that? The abuse I take.
You know what?
My eyelashes look good, though.
I'm going to tell you. Mark my words. I am the president of the provinces of Canada and to the mayor of North America now. I'm going to tell you. She said that about you. Are you convinced she's the one who's putting the kibosh on it? You know what? I'm going to trade Taylor Woods in time for the 2023 season. All right? She's not going to still play Toronto 6, but I guarantee you, I'll trade Taylor Woods in time for the 2023-24 season. She will no longer be part of the Toronto 6. Marty, mark this down. December 22nd, 2022. December 22nd. If that doesn't happen, I'll invite Norm Rumack back.
Okay.
All right, Marty.
Hey, here's something. Here's something that...
the dogs are barking. Who let the dogs out?
Roof, 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 roof. Hey, so we were talking before about Sandin. Sandin's now put on
long-term IR.
Injury reserve. So I don't know how close Riley is, but if Riley's back, that's their opportunity there. They don't have to rush anything. I guess who came in today? Did Ben come in today?
I believe he came in today.
I think Ben came in, 6 block shots he had. Here's the question. In all sports, it doesn't matter what sport, have you seen a player say, yeah, I did? Like every time the Leafs get a penalty, their hands are up in the air. What did I do? But I did. Like,
in soccer, they always come to the referee like, please, it's soccer. Come on. But Marty, one sport that I definitely will be talking about in 2023, Marty. Do you want to know what sport we haven't talked a lot about?
Pickleball.
Well, that too. But Marty, I seen a picture of you skiing. I never knew you were a skier.
I've dabbled a couple times. Yes, you're right. I have a friend of my family whose son is on the Canadian national skiing team that
Olympics.
Will be going. The younger, I believe, ever announced to the team. He is, I believe, he's 15 years old now, and he will be joining us over the next couple of weeks on one of our shows to talk about his experiences and what goes on there. I found out something today I didn't really know, is that these athletes on Ski Canada, that majority of them are paying for it on their own dime. Yeah. And that to me, that was a bit of a shock. You're skiing for your nation and you have to pay to go everywhere. Fly, pick up your own food, your hotel, to me, that's a bit like you have to fundraise for yourself to go to these things. To me, if you're playing for your country, that should be covered. Your training expenses should be covered, not just for certain sports, for all sports. It should be covered. It should not be that someone is going in the hole financially to win a medal, win gold for your country. So that to me is a bit of a shocker that these athletes are paying for their own dime. And I don't know if my understanding also too is that they don't get any type of money until they win a medal. Wow. Now that to me is just, it's absolutely shocking. That to me could be why Canada in certain sports are not as good as other countries are, because there's obviously kids that are missing out on this, that can't afford to do this. And you look at, other countries that have, for skiing, for example, are top of the leaderboard every event out because they put money into that event. And Canada doesn't necessarily do that. Canada, looks at a couple sports, and that's the sports that we want to put money into. But that's sort of a shame that's the case. Pay for it. There's athletes in that can't afford to do this. Like I know growing up with hockey and watching, AAA players, the amount of money that they had to pay to play AAA, thousands and thousands. Well, there's kids that might be good that can't afford to play. So what are we missing out on here that can allow all these athletes, kids, to go and participate in a sport that they want to and thrive at it and get the same training as people that can afford it? It should be the same across the board, especially being on a national level. There should be the training, the housing, all that stuff should be the same. Look at the United States, what they pay. Their athletes get paid to train, to work, to do all this stuff. And you come back to here and it's not the same. It's not an evil or a level playing field. To me, that was a bit surprising when I found that out. But yeah, we'll have Charlie, join us over the next couple of weeks. And I've seen videos of him. It's the extreme skiing, on boards, flips in the air. The kid's amazing. What's even, better is that he used to be, when he was younger, 4 or 5 years old, he was the bat boy on the baseball team that I was coaching. So in his form, carrying. So that's kind of with us over the next couple of weeks.
Marty, I just I wanted to just show you something. Somebody sent me something of you, and I don't know. I can you explain me who this person is? Here we go.
Hi everyone, this is Marty, Fired Up Network. I want to wish everyone a happy Hanukkah, happy holidays, and a Merry Christmas from the Roberts family to everyone watching and listening.
And also have a Happy New Year.
Marty Roberts, how much do you have to pay your daughter?
It
looked like she didn't want to be there.
I'm in debt for life there. Like she was actually surprised she did say to come on. She wanted to come on and do it, so I was happy she wanted to do that. But yeah, that was nice that she wanted to do it.
Does she realize how big of a superstar I have made you from a fraudulent company here?
Yeah, there's actually 2 people that know me now.
Well, who? Your daughter and who else?
My son.
Your son.
Maybe one day I can get her to come on here and sing. Like, she's a pretty damn good singer, so maybe one day I'll get her on here to sing.
And when is your son going to come on here?
I don't know. He just went out to finish his Christmas shopping.
What did he get you?
I don't know yet. I'll find out Christmas morning when.
So hold on. Drew Ebanks, who was coming on after you right now, I'm going to ask him what will you get Marty Roberts for Christmas? So tell the world, Marty Roberts, tell the world what you want for Christmas Hanukkah.
I'm a simple guy. Whatever you get me, you get me. I'm happy with whatever. That's it. I would like to get some seats to go sit beside Drew Ebanks at one of the basketball games, though. Be courtside, rub elbows with royalty.
So you want to be on point, on location.
On point, on location with the man, Captain Canada, Drew Ebanks.
I was good. I was, me and Drew were talking off here. I was going to get you an autograph picture of Norm Rumack's ear.
Let me ask, when you get that picture, is there actually going to be like hair coming out of the picture so it's like I can rub
Yes,
it and feel fuzzy?
he hasn't shaved since 2002. All right, come on. All right, so that closes out for Maple Leafs forever here. Maple Leafs beating the Flyers 4-3. The Maple Leafs have off till Tuesday when they play in St. Louis. And let's close it off with this. There are rumors going around, Marty, and this guy will be amazing pickup. Ryan O'Reilly. Who do they have to give up to get Ryan O'Reilly?
I don't know if they'd be able to. Like, who would they want to give up? Like, they're not giving up anyone off of their two lines, their top two lines, right? So who would they? I don't know. I have no idea who they would give up. There's going to be a lot of players that are available here, like Shen in Vancouver, Bo out in Vancouver. There's going to be some players that I guess trades could be arranged, but you know what everyone's going to want when they call Toronto if they're giving up one of their big guys? They're going to look at Willie. And 2 years ago, you would say, yeah, take Nylander off my hands. But when Nylander right now is either your best or at least your top two players on the team, he's on pace to have almost 50 goals and 90 points. That contract now isn't looking so bad, is it?
It's looking pretty good. All right, Marty. So say thank you to your daughter. Say thank you to your son, who I will call out. I expect him either before 2022 ends or the whole year. He has a whole year.
Well, I told you, Joe, the other night he had some friends over there watching the Penguins game and the Leafs game. And I don't know, there was a lot of empty beer cans downstairs. I was going to message you, say, let's do a show with these four guys down here. But I don't know if they could have got a word together or a sentence together to have a thought.
Well, there's no difference. We used to have a show like that also. Two guys talking, they're on some other thing. Come on.
Right? Like it's eventually he's gonna want to talk about the Penguins, what they're doing, how Sidney Crosby is, Jari, and Zucker is now back. He was here's the funny thing. Zucker is supposed to be week to week.
Yeah.
3 days after they say week to week, he's playing.
Yeah.
Letang, who everyone thought month, 2 months, and he comes back after a week after having a stroke. Yeah. So they're a little older, that team, the Penguins, but I've always liked the Penguins. Tyler loves the Penguins, so I'll get him on here one time to talk about the Penguins and what they're doing and how they're doing it.
All right. So, again, to Tyler, your wife, Allison, you, Marty, who has been a very great person, great soldier here for the Fired Up Network, on behalf of the President of the Provinces of Canada, I'd like to wish you and your family a very Merry, Merry Christmas. I got the same thing you got me for Hanukkah, times 8. 8, all right? All right. And, Marty, you'll be on next week. You've been doing a double shift. You know what, Marty? Tomorrow, do you want to be on the soccer show? I know Carmen Asako has asked, who's this Marty Roberts? He thinks you're best friends with him now. Come on.
Like Carm needs to invite me and give a speech at York before a game, and I will pump those guys up. There'll be no losing when I come into that change room with Carm. They will know what's going on. I'll let Carm just sit down. Carm can be the water boy that day. I will take control and sit there. They get these fancy little booths they can sit in down on the field. As long as I don't have to wear a shirt and tie. I don't want to wear a shirt and tie. Does Carm wear a shirt and tie when he's coaching? Or does he wear a hoodie?
I thought the water boy was Giancarlo Lino. Anyways.
Giancarlo Lino.
Yeah. So, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Everybody stay safe here in Toronto, GTA area. It's going to be snow, rain, wind, everything like that. You wanted a white Christmas. The President of the Provinces of Canada provides that. Marty Roberts, tell everybody how they could get a hold of you.
Yeah, you can follow me. Yeah, and I'm looking at my thing now, and whoever put my name up there, it spelled Old Lefty wrong. But
you put it up. I put that up.
Old Lefty. What the heck? Like, Old Lefty 22 on Twitter and
You don't know how to
Instagram.
spell your own name?
I don't know
I
who
can't
I
locate
put
you.
Marty. I don't know. Someone put Robertson Old Lefty, whatever, minus the T. Old Lefty 22, Instagram and Twitter. And then also for in the next couple of weeks, we'll have Charlie Beatty on here from Team Canada of Skiing. And he'll talk about his life and everything leading up to what he wants is the Olympics in 2026 in Italy.
All right, and stay tuned for more great
Look at that. I
programming
say
here
it and a T shows up.
Stay tuned for more great programming here on the Fired Up Network. Don't forget, tomorrow, special shows. Carmen Asako,
Marty
John
Roberts.
Freeman Nelson, maybe John Carlo Luna, Marty Roberts, plus Dale Brown, the coach of LSU, and the Renaissance Mama. And if that's not all, Marty, we got a special. It's Christmas time. It's Hanukkah time. The ladies of the Fired Up Network. Yes, you sing. Come on, female. Come on, sing low. Come on, female empowerment movement. We got a Christmas concert coming up. A Christmas concert coming up on Saturday night. We're gonna play that, and then Sunday, based on what presents Marty gives me for Hanukkah Christmas, I may be back on here. Marty, I don't know who Washington's playing. The Washington win this week.
San Francisco, they're playing. I think they're dogs by 7. We had this discussion with Steve. I think Wentz has to come back in. Like Heineke's okay, but you know what? What's his name? Purdy from San Francisco's been pretty freaking good since he's come in there. But they're coming against the defense, and Chase Young is back this week. That's another guy he's gonna be. This is his first game of the season. He's gonna be full of, we'll call it piss and vinegar, and he'll want to chase down.
He'll be fired up, man.
He is going to be so fired up to be in a game that I'm taking Washington to win outright this weekend against San Francisco.
And on that note, Marty, I don't ever say that I don't put her back on here. Here's the final comments by Marty Roberts and his daughter.
Hi, everyone. This is Marty Roberts of the Fired Up Network. I want to wish everyone a happy Hanukkah, happy holidays, and a Merry Christmas from the Roberts family to everyone watching and listening.
And also have a Happy New Year.
Thank you to Marty Roberts and his family. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, happy Hanukkah to each and every one of you. Now, as mentioned, of course, the flagship show of the Fired Up Network, Fired Up Live. Now, tomorrow, no break here. We're going to do a soccer show segment with the coach, Carmen Asako of York University men and ladies. Hopefully we'll get John Freeman Nelson. Hopefully we'll get also John Carlo Lino. Part of that show will feature the Renaissance Mama, Courtney Riddle, and a worldwide exclusive. I don't know if he has ever done a Canadian interview. LSU basketball coach, fame, Dale Brown, like you never, ever heard him before. That's tomorrow on a special edition of Game Time. Stay tuned to Fired Up Net to find out what time. Saturday, around, I would say around 9 p.m., we're going to do a special holiday concert. Fired Up Network, of course, sister station, female empowerment movement. Join Shauna Brown, join Courtney Riddle, join also Martina Burnett and Giselle Liu with the holiday concert. We'll air it on Saturday at 9, Sunday replay probably around 7:30, and we're going to have great shows, great for you here on the Fired Up Network, and we were going to make a special announcement. Hopefully, it's an earth-shattering announcement tomorrow. I'll hold off on it today, but tomorrow, an earth-shattering announcement. And right now, to close out the show, is a special, very, very special edition of NBA Jump Ball featuring Captain Canada Drew Ebanks, sports fluent Anthony Kay, and former Toronto Raptor, my good, close personal friend, the long range bomber, Tracy Murray. Tracy had a little bit of audio issues. We're hopefully going to get him on next week as well. But here's a special edition of NBA Jump Ball talking about Christmas Day game with Drew, Anthony Cave, the sports fluent, and Tracy Murray. Everybody, this is Joseph Hasek, and welcome to the Fired Up Network. Welcome to the flagship show of the Fired Up Network, Fired Up Live, and welcome to NBA Jump Ball with Captain Canada Drew Ebanks and the Coach of the Year. Yes, he's more fluent. The Coach of the Year, who named the Coach of the Year, Drew Ebanks, of course. Anthony K here. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to each and every one of you. First of all, Christmas Day game here. Christmas Day game, couple days away. Which game, I'll start with Anthony, which game are you looking forward to the most? Because, Anthony, I know, we have a little bit of heat. Now, Drew doesn't know this, but the Buffalo Bills are taking on Anthony's team, the Chicago Bears. And Buffalo Bills are favored by 75 points, and he's still taking the Buffalo Bills. Go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah, I think they covered that one. What game? I think it's a clear choice, right? It's the best two teams in the East. The one that I think is going to be the winner of the NBA final this year. It's the Celtics and the Bucks. I think it's these two teams. These are the best two teams I see. Been the most consistent, the most talented once the Bucks get healthy. That's the game I'm going to watch. There are some other games that I was hopeful for when the schedule came out. Not as excited for anymore.
All right. And Drew, what do you say?
Obviously, same choice, Bucks Celtics. I mean, I'm not a huge Celtics fan, to be honest with you, being a Toronto Raptors guy, but you have to love what they're doing. You have to love Jason Tatum. I mean, pretty much to me, the front runner for the MVP. And then you have Giannis and the rest of the crew with Milwaukee quietly doing what they do. Nobody really paying attention to them. And they're going to most likely make it to the Eastern Finals. Obviously, with some injuries, some of the other games not too good. I think my next, more favorite game on Christmas would be that late game, the Nuggets Suns. I think that could be very interesting. Good to see Jamal Murray back, obviously playing. The Nuggets doing their thing. Joker still in that MVP hunt, which is crazy. The numbers he's putting up, and the Suns really. I mean, it's time to put up, man. Like, this is the year. If they don't get through this year and get to the NBA Finals, you got to blow that up. It's going to be, unfortunately, on Chris Paul. Again, he was at the Clippers, had a chance with those teams to do damage and go far and flopped out. And I see the same thing happening. Despite being one of my favorite players, he just hasn't gotten it done. So they're going to need to get it done. The other games, I wish they could switch it up. I mean, the Warriors, I don't know. At this point, after that last game, I don't know if they even belong in the league right now. Can you relegate them to the G League for a week and let them play some competition? Because that was absolutely embarrassing for the NBA. And Lakers, I think Lakers match is interesting. LeBron gets up. He doesn't need anything to get up for Christmas Day game. And then, of course, Luka just taking over. And as predicted, he's probably going to be NBA MVP at some point in the next 2 or 3 years, maybe even sooner. I think by next year he should be the man. But some of the matchups a little tainted with injury. But I know once we're done our turkey and we're done our jerk chicken and our curry goat and our ham and everything else.
I hear Joe is a big oxtail guy on Christmas.
Oxtail too, brother. We got our oxtail
Aki and saltfish. Come on, Aki and saltfish, man.
No, we don't need Aki and saltfish.
No, don't do that for Christmas.
For Thanksgiving.
Don't do that for Christmas.
No, that's a breakfast thing. But I'll be posting the photo of the spread, guys. So don't you worry. You'll be able to see exactly. And then once I've eaten my meal, I will be like this on the couch.
All right, enough, Drew. Nobody cares what you're eating here. So, Anthony, but that brings up a good point. Christmas Day, notorious for NBA action. This year, we got NFL action, all that.
Boo, that's our day. Boo, NFL,
I knew he's going to say that.
Unless my Eagles are playing, boo. Boo. Unless my Eagles are playing, boo.
Yeah, his Eagles. Okay, enough. Anthony, what's your Christmas tradition? Of course, you have a family there. Do you have like an annual Christmas tradition with NBA?
With NBA, absolutely. It's wake up way too early because the kids are jumping on your bed to say, "Hey, Santa came." Open up presents. It's pajama day. We tell everybody we're not coming to your house. Don't expect to see us. You want to come by and stop for a visit? Cool. Expect to see us in our pajamas. You're not getting anything. No coffees, no waters. I'm not serving you. It's Christmas, and then it's basketball. And in between halftime every quarter, there'll be some kind of food coming from somewhere. We've already got about 8,000 Christmas cookies for my mother-in-law. The curabiedes and culurio. We got all the Greek cookies. So we'll gain about 15, 25 pounds that day.
All right, and
Sounds like
I
us.
gotta ask Anthony, because Drew has texted me. He wants to know what to get you for Christmas. So, Anthony, what do you want for Christmas, Anthony? From Drew, he wants to know.
Well,
Of course, he's the coach of the year, under 10,
Yes.
coach of the year.
I could probably use a whistle because I'm losing my voice yelling at those kids all day. Can we get a new Lakers squad? Can we get like 4 or 5 trades and just completely redo that roster? Because as much as you hate the Celtics, I'm a Laker fan, so I hate them. I've hated them longer. And my Lakers look horrible. I need to take this moment. I need to take this moment because everybody called me crazy 2 weeks ago or a week ago when Anthony Davis was on his incredible run and playing the best basketball we've seen him play maybe in his career. And I said, trade him. And they said, are you crazy? I said, trade him. Why would you trade him? I said, because next week, and I didn't mean to put any bad juju on him, but it's Anthony Davis. I said, he's going to be hurt next week. And then everyone's going to be saying, oh, you should have traded him. Well, I told you, should have traded him right in the middle of that streak. Could have got a beautiful haul, draft picks, young players, maybe a star in there. And we could have started the rebuild because the Lakers aren't going anywhere. All they're doing is waiting for LeBron to pass Kareem. That's it. That's all they're playing for. It's sad. It's sad.
All right, Drew, the same question. I want to know what you want for Christmas because Anthony's not going to get you it. Marty Roberts has promised he will get you something for Christmas. So what do you want for Christmas?
Man, I'm just a simple guy, man. Family, that's what I love. I mean, we get together. We, unlike you, Anthony, we actually leave and go to my uncle's house. We head up to Maple every Christmas Eve. Sorry, not Christmas Eve, Christmas Day in the evening. And yeah, we're watching ball at home in PJs just like you. But then we got to put on some duds and head out up to Maple for the big family, usually between 20 and 30 people, maybe sometimes even 40, just depends. But we love it, man. We get together on every family occasion. So especially on Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, all those. But again, a great day. And after the day, I'm like, man, I'm really sick of basketball. By the time you get to that 10:30 game, I'm like, I've had enough of hoops. But we sit there, we're in front of the TV. The kids are in the other room. They're doing their thing. They're downstairs in the basement running around. And like I said, health and strength for everybody. And, prosperity. I think, Joe, you've got some great news that you're probably going to share soon with people. And, we know how long you've been trying to get over the hump and get things moving and being able to, see some rewards for the hard work. And I pray every day. I pray Fired Up, gets that opportunity because I think the amazing talent you see right in front of me right here with you guys and the rest of the crew, and breaking news and, real behind the scenes info from everybody and a dedicated crew. I wish that Fired Up is that independent network that breaks through to the mainstream in 2023. And that's all I could hope for. And of course, On Point as well. I hope we can do it. And Fluent, you keep doing it, man. You keep getting on ESPN and doing your thing, man. The world needs to see that face a little more, Anthony. Let's do it, brother.
Some people don't want to see that face, all right? Don't want to see that face.
They only had a face for radio. I don't know what that means.
Don't hate on the guy, Joski. You got the haircut going. I see you doing your thing.
Here's the whole thing. He alluded to this, okay? As you know, I'm the president of Provinces of Canada, and here is Captain Canada, Drew Ebanks, the coach of the year, the Fluent, Anthony Kay, and now I'm in the running for the mayor of North America. He actually, I wasn't going to let it the Canada, but the mayor of North America. But yeah, more details regarding something special coming to the Fired Up Network very, very soon. Maybe at the end of tonight's show. But we are supposed to have also, Drew, we're supposed to have a very, very special guest joining us in about 5 minutes. So we're gonna continue on here. Drew, let me ask you this: Christmas Day, the NBA. What and Ahmad Rashad? We all grew up with Ahmad Rashad there and everything like that. And unfortunately, I'm going to tie it in with a little bit NFL also with Anthony. Christmas night or Christmas Eve night. We're having the 50th annual Pittsburgh Oakland Raiders or Vegas Raiders, but unfortunately, Franco Harris passing away just days before they're going to honor his jersey, honor him, honor the team, and everything like that. But going back to Drew, and then I'll go to Anthony. Give me your, Christmas Day has been a staple for, I don't know, 20 years now in the NBA. But before the NBA, you, like I say this almost all the time here, you were Norm Rumack and, Andy or Leo Routins and myself were here talking. We're one of the only people in Canada on a mainstream on the Fab 590. And you were on Global, Drew, talking about the NBA before Christmas was anything with NBA here. Talk about your favorite memories, like growing up and now where it is right now, even though this year maybe it should have had a little bit better grouping of games there.
Wow. I mean, Anthony talked about the Lakers, man. I mean, that to me, like, that's everything for me. That, like, changed my life. I mean, just watching Showtime, just watching Magic and Cooper. I mean, I love Michael Cooper. Watching Big Game James, that reverse pivot move on the baseline. Byron Scott, the Lakers girls, cheerleaders, and the celebrities, Jack Nicholson and Penny Marshall. And, you go down the line and everybody just being there, and that bright yellow, taking on teams like the Celtics. I mean, the NBA is come from the depths of where games were taped, recorded. No one cared. They had drug problems. Of course, America had drug problems as well, but it was reflected more because the dominant group in the league were African Americans. So that was exacerbated them in those times. And then the Dr. J and the merger coming in from the ABA and seeing what he could do. And then going into, the Pistons era, which you hated. And it's crazy to see Isaiah won't stop right now. He continues to be on his let me change Michael Jordan's attitude towards me tour. It's not happening, Zeke. He's not bending.
Let it go.
Hey, let it go, brother. And then you go into the MJ era. And, there's people that say, well, LeBron is the GOAT. Now, not Jordan. I'm sorry. You call me old school, whatever. But what I went through, and I've been through the LeBron era, and I've been through all those eras, and I've been through the Magic era. What Jordan brought was a feeling. It was a phenomenon. That's the word I'm looking for. Michael Jordan was a phenomenon that you had to see it. We didn't get a lot of basketball up here in Canada. We didn't get a lot of games all the time. We had to run home and watch sport, Global Sports Line back then. And I ended up working with Jim and Don later on.
Yes, guy.
Yes, guy. My guy. Yes. So, man, we had some great memories, man, me walking on set. But no, just to say that what the NBA has done as far as marketing the league, branding, you even talk about social media. The league dwarfs the NFL and all the other leagues combined in terms of the interactions on social media. And look at the TV deals, not too far behind the NFL, a little league like the NBA. It's more accessible. They're more cooler. I think the athletes in the NBA, that you look at the league fits and, photos of the guys walk into the games and the kicks they wear. And, it's just they've turned it around. I mean, shout out to David Stern, what he did to turn the league into a money-making machine. And then Adam Silver has continued it. And then the next generation, the next iteration of the NBA will be now the LeBron Jameses owning franchises, maybe even a Snoop Dogg owning franchises, things like that. So that's going to continue that growth. And we're only seeing a fraction of what even the NFL, what these leagues can do as far as the internet.
What Drew didn't talk about.
I wanted to jump because there's two things. Yeah. Drew, you hit a bunch of solid points. I would say two things. One, when you brought up the Michael Jordan era, it was about that globalization, right? If you look, I'm not comparing NBA and NFL, but since we are a little bit, the NFL is huge in America.
Right.
The NBA is huge globally. And that started, I think, in that late 80s, 90s, that it was the Jordan, the Bulls, the dream team that kind of just exploded it globally. And part of that explosion was into Canada. And let's not forget Vince Carter. What Vince Carter did for basketball in Toronto, in Canada, it made it. There's a great piece, the Carter Effect. I think LeBron and I think Jay-Z, some guys partnered up and did the Carter Effect, which really, I think, did a great job of encapsulating what it meant. You know, as a guy who was watching basketball in the 80s and had a hard time finding a place to just go shoot around, what I saw during those 2000s with Vince Carter, now there's basketball hoops popping up everywhere. Every kid now is playing basketball. There's traditionally hockey kids are like, oh, I want to play basketball. It was something new, and we're seeing it now in the draft with how many Canadians in the draft, how many great players there are in the NBA, and that number continues to rise. If you think about it, a population equal to that of California, and we've already put that many players in. It's been phenomenal to see as someone who's been watching since, I tell everybody my first year watching basketball was, which is why I was a Laker fan, Magic's rookie season in the NBA when they won a chip, right? And he was my favorite player. To see that growth from tape delay, like you said, watching as many highlights as I could. There's no YouTube. I can go watch a game. So to see that to where it's come today, it's incredible, phenomenal.
They don't know what we had to do to watch the game.
I'd run to my friend's house who somehow got it because there was a 2 a.m. game and they taped it on VHS, and we'd watch and have to tape over to the next game to watch. Like, we struggled, man. We struggled. So it's great to see where it is.
Globalization. You talk about there's games next year in Paris, right? They've been to China and all that.
UK,
and
England,
Mexico. Drew is the oldest of them all, Anthony, here, okay? But me and you are around the same age. Drew is a little bit older, maybe 20 years older. But Drew did not mention, and I know, Anthony, you got kids and all that, but NBA 2K. It's the newest thing.
Sure. Yeah.
2K, everybody goes out there, and I think it's the number one selling after FIFA. Number one selling. Everybody plays and it's the most realistic thing in the world. What people want to say, and you're coaching, like I say, Drew is Captain Canada. He's in there with, grade 2, grade 3, 15, 20-year-olds and all that. And Anthony, I mentioned you at the coach of the year, coaching under 10. Think about that. 5, 10, 20 years ago, do you even think you would ever coach basketball? 10-year-olds. Forget about, 10-year-olds.
Yeah, organized basketball. When I was 10 years old, guys, I was running away from girls or playing tag.
You were kicking the jams.
I was kicking the jams, and now you got organized ball. I wanted to also shout out the Grizzlies that I just recently got invited to the Grizzly Truth. Shout out Kat Jamie. Incredible film on the emotions of Vancouver. I can't even imagine having the Toronto Raptors not in Toronto, what that would do for the collective psyche of Torontonians and Canadians who love the Raptors. It's such a sad story. It was great to see Steve Francis there, though. Had a chance to meet him. Jimmy King was also in the building. Just Steve kind of going over his reasons for not wanting to come to Canada. And it was tough. It was tough, but he came and he took his shots, but just to say Vancouver, great fan base. And I hope one day they get their team back for sure, man. And
they talk about expansion. And I don't think any city should get a team until Vancouver and Seattle.
Yeah, those two. Exactly. Yeah.
Those two need to have and
that's a rivalry nowadays. That will be a good rivalry, Vancouver and Seattle. And let's hope. NBA is talking about expansion and everything, and they're talking about Vegas and WNBA to Toronto also. What about WNBA putting a team in Vancouver? You want to grow the game again? Show that you could support it in Vancouver. WNBA leads to the NBA. And speak about somebody who played in that era for this is Tracy Murray. Yes, look, he's wearing Weaver 1.
And he's got his hand up. He's ready. He's ready to go jump in.
Tracy, we were just talking about the effect that Vince Carter had on Canada and all that. You're the long-range bomber. You were Double Time came here to Toronto. When you first came to Toronto and you heard about the cold, you didn't see what a great looking man Joe is, anyways. But you hear about the cold and everything like that. Give me your thoughts from California coming up to Toronto.
Is he muted? I think
Yeah.
he's muted.
Toronto.
You're
Mute there,
muted.
Tracy.
You're
Unmute.
unmute yourself, Trace.
Acknowledge me.
Okay, I'll acknowledge him. This is the long-range bomber, my good, close personal friend. I taught him how to shoot a basketball, Tracy Murray. Go ahead.
Still no audio.
You're muted. We're having a little bit sound audio problems, Trace. Hopefully, it's all because of Drew. You know, every time he comes in, he wants to hog the microphone and all that. But
can you unmute him?
Nope. Yeah, we can hear you now. Go ahead. We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Just your video's lagging, though.
Toronto. Acknowledge me.
I'm acknowledging you.
There's a delay. There's a delay.
There's a short delay here. Go ahead, Trace. Go ahead.
Delay.
Go ahead. Tell me about what it was like to play for the Raptors during the early years.
Back in because it is delayed.
Yeah, you probably should. Yeah, something's off right now.
Yeah, come back in. Yeah. So he'll come back in a couple seconds. We'll be joined. And how apropos was what we're talking about when we have a Raptor who came in when the Raptors were expansion, and now he came in twice, and he was a great, great shooter. I taught him everything he knows there. He's back now. Hopefully we can hear him. Trace, can we hear you? It's still not great here.
I can hear you, but you're kind of in and out.
All right, Drew, you want to take Drew and Anthony? I'll shut up. Go ahead. You take it.
No.
Okay. So
it's weird that it's delayed like that.
Something else.
Maybe try your phone, coming in on your phone.
Yeah. And I can barely hear you guys. It's choppy.
Yeah, well, you don't want to hear Drew, so come on your phone and all that. Again, that's Tracy Murray with Anthony K here and Drew Ebanks here, a special NBA Live as we talk about Christmas Day and everything like that.
You know, Tracy was one of my high school influences. We took a trip to Los Angeles to play a tournament, and we got to see the UCLA Bruins, and that was Tracy Murray, Ed O'Bannon, Tyus Edney. It was that team, and watched them, and we're like, oh, because I hated playing inside, and at my size in my freshman year in high school, they're like, playing. I'm like, nah. And I say these dudes shoot. I'm like, yeah, that's what I want to do. And that was one of the first times I was like, oh, you can do this. All right, I'm stepping out. So
I hope you heard that, Trace. He was complimenting you.
Step out and let it fly, baby. Let it fly.
All right, Trace. Let me ask you a question. When you came first time,
let it fly.
When you came first time to Toronto, what were your thoughts coming over from California to Toronto in the cold and everything like that?
In '91, when I was up there for a friendly game for the Pan American Games against Team Canada. So I already knew how clean the city was, opportunity. So I took the first plane smoking up there, and the weather didn't bother me. We played an inside sport, so it didn't bother me.
Okay, since we're having a little bit of technicals, I'll give one question to Drew, one question to Anthony, and then we'll wrap it up. So go ahead, Drew. You'll get the question first.
Oh, question, Tracy. I mean, yeah, we've had great pleasure having Tracy on the show several times. Talking as well about hoops, and very invaluable. What is your thought right now? I want to get your take on the Lakers. Obviously, you weren't on the show before, but Anthony talked about Lakers being his favorite team. I talked about it was Showtime Lakers that actually drew me into basketball. And so what is the sentiment there in LA, and how can they turn this situation around?
Magic pushing the ball down the middle. Byron Scott down one lane, Worthy running the other. The Cap was leading us. Michael Cooper was 6-man and Kobe. Then just another good run with Kobe. But the champions, they always have an asterisk. Antonio's because of the shortened season. As I say, again, championship is a championship. It's hard to win. But at the end of the day, I don't extreme young. It's got to be a balance. It's got to be a balance of superstar leaders. You got to have two go-to guys. They have to play defense, and they got to be a star in the room. They got to be the best 6-man they can be, best 7th man they can be. They can't want to be the stars. That's our relationship, because you know what you bring to the table consistently every night.
All right, Anthony, go ahead. Your question, and we'll close it out.
I'm going to take my question in a completely different direction. Completely different direction with my question. So a really good friend of mine who I played high school with is now down at your alma mater, UCLA. He's the strength and conditioning coach for the UCLA Bruins for the girls basketball team. I know you coached. I know you did some work with, I think, the Shock and the WNBA. Tell me about the growth of the women's game that you've seen, because there was nobody, like I say, growing up in Canada, there was none of us dudes play. There's definitely no women playing. Talk to me about like that growth and what you've seen, and maybe what the future holds for women's basketball.
When she was trying to make Team USA again for the last time, and I remember Lisa Leslie and Tina Thompson coming in. That's how many women are playing basketball now. You got to credit those great Stanford, Tennessee, and UConn teams. They've had stars because now they have something to shoot for. And, you know, they make most of their money overseas. They make really good money. It also helps that, you know, Kobe shed light on the situation before he passed, and how he was going to try to help grow the game. Daughters, they're out there and they're more involved in the girls' circuit. Yeah. I'm involved in the girls' circuit, helping my niece and my daughter. Those daughters that are in the circuit just trying to figure it out and take it to the next level, and out there, you know, killing, knowing how to play. And I always thought the women's game was more fundamentally sound than the men's game.
Yep.
But
all right,
now they're starting to have So I mean, I really enjoy the women's game and the growth of it.
All right, I know.
Let's get out and watch the WNBA and get them ladies paid. It's fundamentally, Joe. I don't know how much you've seen, Joe. It's like it is okay. They're not the high flyers, but the fundamentals. Like if
fundamentals are better than men.
If I'm teaching my youth team how to play, I'm showing them WNBA highlights. Be like, here, look at the back screen, look at the cut, look at the passing. Like that's where you get that stuff from. It's we don't watch it enough. Buy the merch, right? Get them the.
All right, I know, Drew. I know, Drew and Trace. Next week you're invited on because I know Anthony wants to talk wrestling, but Drew Ebanks does nothing want to talk about wrestling. But next week, yes, acknowledge him, Drew. Acknowledge him. He is the tribal chief. The tribal chief. All right, acknowledge him, Drew. Drew, tell everybody how they could get a hold of you. By the way, Merry Christmas to you.
I am the honorary Ooze.
Okay. In other words, first of all, Trace, I'm the Paul Heyman here. So in other words, Drew, okay, Tracy is Usi. Tracy is Usi.
Yes, you are.
Usi Tracy. Usi Tracy. Drew, tell everybody how to get a hold of you. Trace will be back next week to talk about wrestling. But Drew, go ahead.
OnPointBasketball.com, On Point Basketball on Instagram, Drew Banks on Twitter, and also On Point Basketball on TikTok. We are definitely making our moves there. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Great to see y'all.
And Trace, Drew can be a little bit more Usi, right? Come on, Drewsy. How about Drewsy? Come on, next week, Drew, I want you on here to be Drewsy.
I have no idea what y'all is talking about. That's okay.
Anthony did have a question since he did not ask. Trace, have you ever played in the Greek League, or are you familiar with Greek basketball?
3 years in the Greek League.
I know this. That's why I'm asking.
2 years in the Greek.
Oh, 2 years. Close.
I play with Panathinaikos, and I play with PAOK. Panathinaikos is the best team in Greece, and then there's playing in the Euro League and the Greek League with the best team. I played with the great teams. And
here's the question, Trace. Anthony wants to know: have you learned any Greek?
The guys always teach you the bad words. So I can't say the bad words. They teach you the bad words.
That's true.
Off air, you tell me off air.
Hey, my teammate Mike Batiste just won the Greek Hall of Fame. Greek Basketball Hall of Fame.
Really? Okay, Anthony.
And then my coach from PAOK.
Tell Trace how he could be more sports fluent.
At sports_fluent, TikTok, Twitter, IG, or of course, check out all my shows on the Players Choice YouTube network.
All right, and Trace, I'll leave it to you. First of all, I want to, Drew, you're like family to me. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas to you and your family and all that.
Well, to everybody, Merry Christmas.
Anthony, I'm since I'm going into your Greekness, get it? Greekness with potentially a wife who's Greek also. So we're part of family also. All the best to you and your family. And Trace, what do I say? I know you for like 28 years. You haven't changed a bit. I'm so proud to call you a good personal friend. I'll acknowledge you, but I'm still the president of the provinces of Canada, soon to be the mayor-elect of North America. Trace, you get the final word.
Joe, you have to leave. You have to acknowledge, first of all. Last but not least, I all jokes aside, I want to wish everybody Merry Christmas, a happy holidays, and just be safe, man, because
All right, Trace. Next week, you're invited on here. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do my best because Drew wants this to get Brock Lesnar on here and spear your ass. If it's not going to be spearing your ass, it's going to be spearing Drew Ebanks' bald head. All right? So you're invited back here next week, Drew. Drew, Anthony, and Trace. Trace, do you accept the challenge of getting speared? I'll acknowledge you if you get speared. Go ahead.
We got to take the mic away from you in the ass, but you know, I might
All right.
take a spear.
All right. Again, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. Thanks a lot to all you guys. Drew Ebanks, onpointbasketball.com. Check it out. One of the leaders here in Canadian basketball, more sports fluent with Anthony K. And he's the number one coach, the coach of the year, Trace, the coach of the year, coaching under 10. If it was over 20, he would not be the coach of the year. And of course, tell everybody, Trace, how to get you, Trace, get a hold of you, Trace. All right, that's to get a hold of Tracy Murray. Real
coming
Tracy
in now.
Murray.
It's coming in now.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I missed it. You got it, Joe.
Real Tracy Murray. Stay tuned for more great programming here on the Firedup Network. And Trace, I'm going to acknowledge you next week when we talk wrestling. Sasha Banks in New Japan Pro Wrestling, AEW. Come on. Drew, do you know anything about AEW? No. Anthony, can you spell AEW? No. So, Trace, it's only going to be me and you, all right? I acknowledge you. Acknowledge the whole world. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Be safe. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Well, that was Anthony K, more sports fluent, Drew Ebanks, Captain Canada, On Point Basketball, and my good, close personal friend, longtime friend, former Toronto Raptor, great guy, for, 30 years maybe, Tracy Murray. Remember, that concludes Fired Up Live for tonight. But tomorrow, a special edition of Game Time with the coach, Carmen Asako. Hopefully, we'll have John Freeman Nelson, the Hall of Famer of OSG Sports in Atlanta. We'll also have Giancarlo Alino recapping the World Cup Finals, looking ahead to MLS and all that. Then we have Part of Femme, the Renaissance Mama with Courtney Riddle, and then a worldwide exclusive. Nobody will provide you this interview with LSU basketball fame coach Dale Brown. That's tomorrow. Stay tuned to Fired Up Net for the time. And then Saturday, probably around, 7:30, 8 o'clock, Christmas Eve edition. FEM takes center stage, Female Empowerment Movement. Join FE Movement. That's our social media. Join FE Movement. Well, we'll have a holiday concert. We'll replay on Sunday, Christmas Day, about 7:30. All in all, an independent company bringing you great original programming, and hopefully tomorrow we'll have unveil a huge, 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 earth-shattering announcement that you gotta check out here. By the way, I want to thank everybody on the show tonight who appeared on the show. Steve Carney, good friend of mine from Tampa, St. Pete, and real good friend of mine, Steve, always a class act. Marty Roberts, what can I say? The grizzled young veteran. Marty doing double duty with Steve, and then the Maple Leafs forever. And of course, Andy McNamara with the Ultimate Fantasy Football Show. Second quarter, the Jaguars lead the Jets 10-3. And we just saw him right now. Tracy Murray, Anthony K, Sports Fluent, and Drew Ebanks. But tune in tomorrow. We got another great show. Now, I want to take this special opportunity since I'm the president of the provinces of Canada to wish everybody out there a happy Hanukkah, Chag Sameach, a happy and merry, healthy Christmas. And hopefully next year will be even better. And stay safe, everybody. Here in Toronto, it's raining, windy. Looks like it's going to be freezing rain. Looks like it's going to be a snowstorm. Kids are already off school. They were supposed to finish school tomorrow, but they're off school. So stay safe. Stay safe. And I want to say a very Merry Christmas to a lovely lady of mine, Patricia. Hopefully, you have the best Christmas ever. Hopefully, Santa has been very good for you in the last couple weeks. And especially my sister, who's also not in Canada, in Florida, hopefully watches. Give a big hug and kiss to the kids. And to my sister, I'm expecting my geld here, all right, for Hanukkah. Stay tuned for more great programming here on the Fired Up Network.